the Sun Prairie Cardinals are going to come in and try and take on the Verona Wildcats. Sun Prairie ranked 4th in the state. Mark Martinez over here. I'm Eric Rogers, and this is the A1 Furniture and Mattress Dane County Bowl. And as you can see behind us, the weather not great, but we'll do our best to keep dry and bring in the action. Mark, it's good to be here with you tonight.
It is, and we've had great weather all season long. Of course, the night we get you on the mic, we get a little precipitation. Yeah. So it's going to be a factor in tonight's game for sure. The ball's going to be wet, a little slippery, but both teams are going to try to hang on to it and win this contest.
Sun Prairie doing a lot of things. We're going to hear from both head coaches here before the broadcast, and a lot of stuff going on with, like, running the ball is going to be super important, like you mentioned, but they have a balanced offense. Verona also got a good team as well. They're 5-2, trying to kind of secure a little bit more their playoff spot and going up against a 7-0 team.
Right, this is for the conference championship, at least a tie for it for the Sun Prairie Cardinals. And we're looking at two of the top passers in the Big 8 Conference. Number 1, Aaron Young for Verona, and number 2, Jack Zander for Sun Prairie. So even though they throw the ball a lot with the weather conditions, we might see more of a ground attack tonight. Whoever takes care of the ball is going to have the best chance to win this contest.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see too, because Verona's got 2 of the top 5 receivers in the Big 8 Conference. So you're going to take them out of the game. You would think a little bit with the weather, maybe just a little bit more dump off passes, short screens, types of plays like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go and attack. And Sun Prairie's got Traven Peoples. So
absolutely, Traven Peoples is an outstanding talent at running back. He's had kind of a roller coaster career. He's missed some games due to suspensions and injuries, but when he gets rolling, the Sun Prairie offense is really hard to stop. The Verona defense, on the other hand, hasn't allowed any passing touchdowns this season, so it's going to be a battle either way you cut it. It should be a good one tonight.
Yeah, a lot of stats we'll bring you throughout the broadcast, and I'm excited to see how this one goes and who comes out of the Dane County Bowl. And you'll have that after you hear from the coaches, the A1 Furniture and Mattress Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports. Well, we've got the Dane County Bowl here coming up momentarily, but first let's talk with Sun Prairie head coach Brian Kaminsky. Brian, thanks for coming on, taking a moment with us before the game, and obviously, you know, you're looking at weather, but you've got a great balanced offense. How does that factor in?
You know, we told our kids you can control, and the weather's just something that's out of our control, so we want to come out and play our football game. We still want to be a balanced attack, but we want to take what they're going to give us, and let's have some fun out in the rain tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach, you have one of the best defenses in the state, if not the best. You got a couple of kids that are going to play in the college level. Talk about your defense and how well they've been playing this season.
They've been playing great. They're very opportunistic and getting a lot of takeaways for us and setting our offense up in a good field position. I think the best thing about them is they play with a relentless effort and they fly to the football.
And another question about your offense, and you know, we were talking, Mark and I, before we came on, and that's you guys changed offense from last year into this year. So how's that been? You know, obviously it's paid dividends for you. They're 7-0 right now.
As a coach, you're always nervous. You put all this time and this energy into something in the offseason. You're, how's this going to work? And you know, right now it's working pretty good. We still got to figure some things out. And you know, it looks great on paper, and you get out there like, boy, that didn't work very good. But no, it's been great. It's been a challenge, but we've had some great coaches along the way help us out throughout different communities.
You mentioned defensively you're taking the ball away a lot. You got a kid on that side leading the state in interceptions in Caden Kaupinen. He's got a scholarship to play football at the college level. Talk a little bit about him and how ball hawking this defense is.
He's just tremendous. He's a kid that, you know, you love your younger kids that take his vibe and what he does. He's a kid that wasn't a great athlete when he was younger. He got in the weight room, and he really made himself into a pretty dang good football player. And he's just got a confidence about him that a D-back has to. If he gets beat, he knows he's going to come back the next play and make a play. And he's one of our leaders as far as getting our team going vocally as well.
And that'll be Sun Prairie's Coach Kaminsky. We will talk with Verona's Coach Richardson after this, and then we will have the kickoff of the A1 Furniture and Mattress Dane County Bowl. Well, the Dane County Bowl kickoff just moments away, but first you heard from Coach Kaminsky. Now let's hear from Coach Richardson from Verona. So a big game here, obviously, and we've talked about how much you know, all the games mean something, and now 5-2 going against a 7-0 team. Just want to get your pre-thoughts going into that game and the weather, and we heard from Kaminsky about the weather, but just want to get your thoughts on that part of it as well.
Well, normally we're a running team, and this weather we invite. We love this kind of weather, but now we're more of a passing team, so not real sure about the weather, if I like the rain or not, but we'll find out. You know, we've kind of switched roles from last year. They had to beat us to tie the conference championship. We came into their place undefeated, so we've kind of treated it let's reverse the roles on them, and we've really got nothing to lose, and they've got something to lose. So let's play hard, and if it happens to go our way, great. If it doesn't, we're still in the playoffs. We're still playing pretty well despite our injuries, and we'll keep moving forward.
Coach, you battle in the Big 8 of the top 2 quarterbacks. Your guys leading. Sun Prairie's is number 2. Are we going to see an aerial attack tonight, even though it's raining a little bit?
Yeah, we got to throw it to run it, and so we've got to be able to throw the football. So I don't think Aaron will have any issues with that. It's just our routes, getting off the routes, getting off the man-to-man coverage. A little more difficult when you're playing in wet conditions, but we got to throw it to have a chance, and we're going to throw it.
Defensively, I mean, you're looking at stopping a pretty balanced Sun Prairie offense, and I don't know if you have any specific plans. Maybe, I mean, you don't have to give away the trade secrets because we're on TV here, but I mean, go ahead and say, like, what's your main goal then?
Well, you got to stop their run game, so we got to put 8 in the box and make sure they get into different phases of their game. So we want 2nd and long, 3rd and long. If we can do that, we got a chance. So we got to stop the run game, and after that, we think we've got a pretty good secondary to match up with 2nd and 3rd and long. So stop the run game.
Coach, Sun Prairie's got one of the best defenses in the state, but yours isn't too shabby either. Haven't given up a touchdown pass yet. Talk about your defense and how you're going to stop this high-powered Sun Prairie offense.
Yeah, our defense is solid all the way around. A lot of new guys, but I really like our back end. So there's no big plays. We're just not giving up any big plays. We make people go on 8, 10, 12-play drives, and that's tough in high school football. It's tough in any level of football, but for high school, especially a wet night, let's hope they got to go 10, 12 plays to get in the end zone. I think if that happens, we got a chance.
And we will have the coin toss and then kickoff of the Dane County Bowl, Sun Prairie versus Verona, here on 57 Sports momentarily.
We're here with Robert Bishop and the Blown Smoke Barbecue Tailgating Showcase. How are you, Robert?
Doing good, Justin. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm great. So we're making buffalo chicken cheese balls.
Yes, sir.
All right. So how do we do that?
Okay, we take a blend of mozzarella, cheddar, cream cheese,
Okay.
chicken that's been tossed in buffalo sauce that we make in-house here.
Sure.
And we take those, roll them into nice little balls.
Okay.
These are appetizer.
Okay. And what is it that you're rolling it in?
That's a little flour.
Just flour. Okay.
Then this is a seasoned batter, beer
Okay.
batter.
Beer batter.
Beer batter, yep.
Nice.
Sounds a little weird, but beer and cheese in Wisconsin,
Well,
right?
that's who would have thought, right?
Yeah. Roll them in a little panko breadcrumb,
All right.
and you got your cheese ball.
Wow, that's pretty easy.
Yep.
So then what do? You just deep fry them
Deep
for a
fry
while?
these. It takes about a minute. Deep fry them,
Okay.
and then they come out
I'm gonna try.
golden.
Look at that. I'm gonna try a little piece here. This is the buffalo chicken cheese ball. It's still warm too.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Wow. Buffalo chicken cheese ball. What a great, I guess, finger food that you can have at, if you're doing any tailgating or if you're just watching the game at home. Great thing that you can do, or you can get them here from Blown Smoke Barbecue.
Yep.
Is it possible to do it without deep frying them, or do they have to be deep fried? Could you just pan fry them or something?
You could probably pan fry them, yep.
Okay.
I bought an air fryer recently, and that
Okay.
thing's pretty amazing too. They might work good in there. I've never
Alright.
tried it, but it's possible.
How long do you have to put them in there for?
About a minute.
All right.
Yep.
That's very good.
Just get them kind of golden, heat up the cheese a little bit.
So if you have any catering needs, or any parties that you're hosting coming up, give this guy a call at Blown Smoke Barbecue. It's in Wanakee. They smoke all their own meats. Robert Bishop, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back after this break with more high school football. Stick around.
Hey, we're here at the Dane County Bowl. We've got Verona High School versus Sun Prairie. We're going to be here quickly and learn about the coin toss brought to you by Monona Bank. Let's see what happens.
David Blanca, our referee tonight, gentlemen. Mr. Myers, Mr. Heskey, Mr. Tubbs, and Mr. Conjemi. Okay? Number one sportsman tonight, okay? Play hard up to the whistle. On the penalties, I'll explain the penalties to you. If you don't understand them, ask me. I'll go over them again. I'll take your first answer. If you have any issue with anybody, we'll come to you guys since you're the leaders of the team and help us out. Any questions? All right. Sun Prairie, you're the visitors. Just a $1 head in the tail.
Tails.
All tails, I'll let it hit the ground. It is a tail. You've won the toss. You want the ball. Which goal you want to defend?
Let's defend that goal.
Want to defend that goal? All right. Excuse me. Take you back this way.
There you have it. Sun Prairie's going to take the ball. Verona's going to defend on this end, and that's your Monona Bank coin toss. Now we're going to go to your Cricket Wireless National Anthem.
And here we are, the Dane County Bowl between Sun Prairie and Verona, as we are getting ready for the Cricket Wireless National Anthem. And we have myself, Eric Rogers, joined by Mark Martinez. So nice to have the, as we talked in the pregame, nice to do the game with you. And, of course, once again, it's bad weather when we're teaming up.
It is. We've had great weather all season long. You can see in the crowds, not quite filed in tonight, but it's because there's a steady drizzle out there. Hopefully be a late-coming crowd. But the teams are going to have to battle the elements tonight, but there'll be none worse for the wear, as the Sunbury Cardinals are going to go for at least a tie for the Big 8 crown tonight.
Yeah, so a lot of that obviously would be dependent on the outcome of the game here this evening. But as we kind of thought coming into the season, this was going to be one of the premier games, you know, on our schedule to say, hey, we want the Dane County Bowl is going to be a good one between a 7-0 fourth-ranked Sun Prairie team and an unranked yet 5-2 Verona team that they were a step away from, you know, really taking that next step, being just a game behind. And so we do have the national anthem here going on, so we will pause our voices in respect. And the players are now coming on the field. Kickoff is next, the Dane County Bowl between Sun Prairie and Verona. And Mark, as we were talking about before the game, just all the stats and everything to keep track of in this one. And the last time these two teams met was almost a year ago to the day, October 7th last year, where Sun Prairie defeated Verona 13-9 after forcing 4 interceptions and holding Verona to just 14 rushing yards. Just an insane number of just dominance on that side of it.
So both of these teams tied for the Big 8 crown last year. And this year it's going to take a couple of losses for Verona to be able to tie for that championship as well. Sun Prairie can own it outright by 2 more victories, or 1 more victory and a loss by somebody up by Middleton, as a matter of fact. But these two teams seem year in and year out to be battling for the conference championship. And once again, it comes down to Sun Prairie versus Verona to see who's going to be in the catbird seat.
And we will see in just a moment who gets the ball and who gets the start, the first score in this game. The Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports is next. Well, kickoff just moments away as Verona tees it up to kick off to Sun Prairie to begin this Dane County Bowl. And a good one that we'll be having up here is Week 8 in the Big 8 Conference. And as you alluded to there, Mark, a lot on the line. I mean, Sun Prairie looking to continue an undefeated season at 7-0 right now. And Verona looking to then, take a piece out of that and put the first blemish on Sun Prairie's record.
That would be nice. Of course, Sun Prairie's ranked number 4, actually number 2 in some polls in this state, and Verona would like nothing better than to give them their first loss of the season.
So we have the kickoff underway, taking it about the goal line by Sun Prairie, and actually it ends up being a touchback, and so that is how this one will begin with the Sun Prairie Cardinals offense underway. And that'll be led by Jack Zander, number 5. Number 5, Jack Zander, is 57% passing on the season, and he is over 1,000 yards on the season, which ranks second in the Big 8, as we alluded to Aaron Young of Verona. So as we get ready for that offense to come on the field, and Mark, you talked about it, that spread offense. A little bit different look this year for Sun Prairie, as Draven Peoples runs to the near side and out of bounds. About the 45-yard line, so not a bad start there for Verona. Just really pounded up off the left side, and that's how you start a football game.
Well, Sun Prairie for years has been known as a power running team with a lot of play action off of that. This year they decided to go with more of a spread attack. They got a good quarterback, Jack Zander, who's got a big arm and a number of good receivers, but they still have that running threat, and in the backfield in particular, senior Draven Peoples can get a lot of yardage for you on the ground. So
they go 3 wide receivers, and then they go up the middle, and they go off the left side, Draven Peoples, and of course, quarterback Zander throwing a block to pick up a good chunk of yardage there and trying to find the yardage markage. It looks like a first down again for Sun Prairie, so 2 plays, 2 first downs.
Well, the Wildcat defense had him bottled up at the point of attack, but Peoples just bounced it out, got a block by his quarterback. Zander got to the sideline and was able to get more yardage, like you said, for a first down for the Cardinals.
So that would be an 11-yard rush for Draven Peoples, who already has 31 yards on 2 carries. And so instead they get a fumble on the play as they try to hand that ball off to Brian McKenzie.
Or if, because of the conditions, the ball was wet, regardless, about a yard or 2 loss, it's going to be 2nd and 12.
So I'm not sure who gets credit for the -2 yardage there, but it does set up a 2nd and about 12 or 13. And they go off to the left side. I believe that's Draven Peoples. No, they go back to McKenzie, who picks up about 6 yards, I'd say, on the play.
So at Sun Prairie offensive line already getting some good push off the line of scrimmage, opening up holes for the Cardinal running backs there. And McKenzie takes the ball and gets half of that yardage back that they need for the first down. Looks like it's going to be third and 6.
Yeah, that'll be a manageable 3rd down for Sun Prairie. And Verona, and we've talked about a stingy defense in their own right, and now they're kind of scrambling to say, well, I mean, get off of a fast start there for Sun Prairie. The Cardinals in attack mode right now. So a handoff to Peoples, but oh my goodness, what a reverse tackle. Instead of being tackled in the backfield, Draven Peoples throws the defender off him. He ends up losing a big chunk of yardage on the play anyway, but you got to commend the effort there, Mark.
You got to like what he did there to avoid the tackle, but he got himself a little bit discombobulated in the backfield. Didn't quite know which way he wanted to go. If we would have squirted off to the right, he might have had something going, but he came to the left. The Wildcat defense just swarmed him there and put him back for about a 7-8 yard loss, bringing up a 4th and long, 4th and 13, and the Cardinals' first punt of the evening.
So it ends up being a punting situation for the Cardinals after a couple big first downs. And there is your punt, and it goes into the end zone, or not into the end zone, but down at about the 20-yard line. So 19 officially. I think we'll remark that one, and that's where the Verona Wildcats offense will take the ball and take their first shot at offense. So let's head down to the sidelines now, and we will check in.
We're taking a break from the Dane County Bowl for a Dale's Heating and Air sideline report, and with me now I have Sun Prairie seniors. You guys are crazy. It's out here raining. You guys have a huge student section here tonight. Why was it so important for you guys to be out here?
We're just out here to support the boys, you know. This is a big game here with the against the Wildcats, you know. We're just out here to support the boys. Free Adam.
So I want to know, you guys are wearing camo and orange tonight. Who came up with the theme? How do you guys decide your themes?
We usually have a Twitter vote to vote for every theme, and it's either us because we run the team account, and whoever wins the poll gets the theme.
Awesome, I love it. It's a good night for the theme, so you guys can stay warm, stay covered. Good thinking. Now, being seniors, you guys are really in charge of the student section. How do you guys keep everybody so pumped up?
Keep chants going at all times to keep everybody hyped up during the game.
I love it. Can you guys leave us with something before we go? A quick chant?
Cards on 3. 1, 2, 3, cards!
This was a Dale's Heating and Air Sideline Report, and we'll head back to the game.
And so after a couple plays on the first and second down marker, we get a completed pass, but now it looks like a
third down.
Rock that one backwards.
So Eric, what we might be looking at here, Eric, is one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the state of Wisconsin. The white Sun Prairie Cardinal defense, only allowing 4.3 points a game. Third down, they're going to try to get off the field here.
So we'll go to 3rd and 12 and a fake handoff, and we get the pass out to number 36, Joe Riley. The running back had a couple of yard loss on his first carry of the day.
It's going to leave about 4th and 5 or so. Neither team looking to throw the ball yet. Again, we talked about it, little drizzle out there, sloppy conditions. They kept it on the ground, both teams here, neither other than the one pass that we saw that was fell for an incompletion, but each team content to try to run the ball.
And that Sun Prairie defense holds Verona to a 3-and-out, though we'll end up punting on what looks like a 4th and 5. So Riley runs the ball for -2 yards, and he ends up catching a pass, which picks up about 9, but still here 4th down. So now it looks like we're discussing a penalty on the play.
I didn't see a marker on the field, Eric. I'm not quite sure what happened, but again, you know, there's 5 officials out there. We can't see every single one of them, so let's see if they give us a hand signal. Looks like Verona's marking off backwards, so my guess here is some sort of a holding as far back as the Wildcat huddle is moving.
So then kind of surprising if Sun Prairie is going to accept that penalty, because then you're giving Verona another chance on a long 3rd down to maybe pick up the 1st down instead of leaving it at 4th and 5, declining the penalty.
I agree with you there, Eric. It's unusual. You'd usually just say, you know, 4th and 5, we're going to allow them to punt it. If we accept the penalty and mark them back 10 yards, they're going to get a chance at 3rd down here, unless it was a post-possession.
Yeah, you see the official walking towards Coach Kaminsky for Sun Prairie right now, getting the final decision on that. And so, yeah, it ends up being, I think they left that as a 4th down now. So instead, this must be a 3rd down play. So here we go on the 3rd down and long. And a fake handoff. They go again with a similar type play and another pounding tackle there after the 30-yard line. That was Logan Lindell, the tight end, with the reception.
Well, I'm not sure all what transpired on that penalty, Eric, but the long and short of it was the Wildcats completed a quick pop pass for 1st down to keep their drive going. Cardinals, again, I'm not sure if they were unable to decline that penalty, but they might be thinking they should have done so.
Yeah, well, see, there you go. That's the interesting scenario that we have playing out here on that first offensive series for Verona, and now we get a shift in the lineup change. We have receiver very wide for Verona, getting Chase out of the pocket, and does get the ball away and caught by Boy Clements, the defensive back, the Jim Leonard semifinalist, and also a second-team all-conference defensive back, ends up being the receiver on the play.
So we talk a little bit about both offenses here. The Wildcats switched up their offense a little bit this year. They're running the same system. They've usually been kind of a double wing veer offense, but they're throwing the ball a lot more with Young at quarterback. He's the top-rated quarterback in the conference with over 1,100 yards passing this season.
Well, Verona, a younger team. They have a lot of sophomores and juniors playing. But here as we get Aaron Young, good shot of him there. Fakes the run off to the left side and ends up handing that ball off to, that may be Joe Riley. So Joe Riley running for a couple of yards there. Looks like we're still short, 3rd down and short.
Yeah, and you mentioned
right
Eric,
up the gut, yeah.
you mentioned, Eric, a lot of youth on the Verona team. At the beginning of the year, the usual suspects were counted on to win the conference. So Sun Prairie, Middleton, Madison West, LaFollette. Verona wasn't really talked about it because they had a kind of a youth movement, a little bit of a rebuilding year. But look at them right now, 5-2, and they got a chance to knock off the undefeated Cardinals tonight.
So Joe Riley, the lone back off to the left side, ends up going in as a blocker, as Aaron Young just throws that ball away, being chased on that 3rd down play. So 3rd and 3, nice job by Sun Prairie, rather, to kind of sniff that one out and force an incompletion, rather.
Well, they go with the boot to the left. There's not an intermediate route there to throw it. I don't know if a receiver slipped or just wasn't part of the design package there. Young didn't have anywhere to go with it. He just smartly threw the ball over his receiver's head so they could come back here. This looks like it's 4th and 3rd, first punt for the Wildcats.
And so this would be Aaron Young because he does play punter as well as kicker and quarterback. And it's a great punt. That's going to be down inside the 5, and it rolls into the end zone. So nearly an amazing punt by Aaron Young.
Yeah, he got a fortunate bounce there. The ball landed. Pretty solid leg he's got on him to go with his arm at quarterback.
And so at that point, we will take a break as we switch possessions. You're watching the Dane County Bowl between Sun Prairie and Verona on 57 Sports. Verona with a chance on their 2nd offensive possession of the evening. They go with a handoff off to the right side with Orlando Fenderson, who also plays receiver. So the receiver, defensive back.
Fenderson is a slot receiver there. He came in motion to get the jet sweep there, which is a staple of the spread offense there. You get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly. As soon as the ball is snapped, catch the jet and try to get to the edge there. Sun Prairie's got a couple of different athletes that can get to the corner.
So a minimal gain on the play, but Xander now with Peoples in the backfield. He'll launch this one to the near sideline for number 10, and it's in and out of the hands of Caden White. Listed at 6'3", 195. Had his defender beat, but couldn't haul it in, and maybe something to do with the weather there, Mark.
Well, Xander threw the ball a little bit short, which was okay, almost a back shoulder fade. I don't think he was doing it on purpose, but Caden had to adjust for the ball, turned around, and just couldn't grab it in. That would have been a big gain for the Cardinal air attack.
And so now with a 3rd and 5 after the incompletion, a similar type of lineup, but Peoples off to his left side for Xander. So they do fake the handoff. And again, play action, being chased out of the pocket. He nearly finds his receiver and just short. It looked like he was going for Marty Stray.
So Marty Stray is a linebacker on the defensive side of the ball. He plays kind of that H-back role, kind of similar to a tight end in a normal offensive possession formation there. And he was doing a crossing route there, but Xander was rolling to his right, had some heat, chasing him down, and just couldn't put it on the mark.
Yeah, I do have to apologize. It is Stry, so that's it's deceiving the spelling. And so here is a 4th and 5 and a 3 and out for Sun Prairie. So Verona's defense holds. Nearly blocked on the punt and nearly running into the kicker. And so it looks like that is going to be what this courtesy for penalty flag should be for.
Well, it could be unfortunate there because I don't know if he touched the ball on that or not. It didn't look like it. If he would have, then the roughing or the running into the punter wouldn't have been called. It's going to be a 5-yarder.
Looks like that ends up being, 1st down for Sun Prairie. So we've seen a couple of times now the penalty flags end up giving teams 1st downs early on. So Festival Foods 1st down as a result of the penalty. We want to thank A1 Furniture and Mattress, our presenting sponsor here for the high school athletics season, our Dane County Bowl. The official sponsor, A1 Furniture and Mattress, your premier mattress and furniture store.
So Dave Richmond, the Wildcats coach, barking at the refs on that call there. Obviously, you don't want to give the Sun Prairie offense a 1st down here, but the Cardinal offense is back out here. They're in their spread formation. See if they can take advantage of this opportunity.
Well, I don't know if you watched the Patriots game last Thursday night, but there was a chance before halftime, and they did the same thing. It was just penalty flag after penalty flag and giving the opposing team a chance to maybe get some points before halftime. It's just yeah, you got to clean that stuff up. And Draven Peoples will go for a good chunk of yardage there on 1st down.
So Draven Peoples is a very talented running back for the Cardinals. He's had a little bit of an up-and-down career with them, missing some games for suspension and injury. But when he plays, he's really good right now. He's their leading touchdown rusher. He's got 7 touchdowns on this season, but he's got a robust 9.7-yard average, and he got more than that average there on that play, getting a first down.
And the Sun Prairie went quickly and got another 4 or 5 yards on a carry. Another one by, that was Draven Peoples again. We've had the Courtesy Ford penalty flags in this game. Courtesy Ford of Sauk Prairie. We want to thank Dale Hicks and people over there. Courtesy Ford, your new truck destination. At Courtesy Ford, it's courtesy that counts. And here is the 2nd and 6. And instead they go with McKenzie, Brian McKenzie, dashing his way to midfield, or the 45-yard line of Verona. So again, this is the second time we've seen them get over into the opposing territory. Nice couple starts to their drives, but we'll see if it stalls out like the last time. Verona's defense really clamped down here.
Well, one of the things about the spread offense is that oftentimes you don't have a lead fullback lead blocking for you, but the way that Sun Prairie runs it with Marty Stryer, the H-back, he's leading on a lot of plays.
This time looked like the Verona player did end up calling that play. He knew what it was, and that was the linebacker Ben Vandervest. He had the quarterback dead to rights in the backfield, but he wasn't entirely sure if that was going to the running back or the quarterback. So
well, that's part of the design out of the formation there with the spread offense, where you had, again, Marty Strye coming in motion. Xander fakes it to the running back who's following Strye, but he pulls it out and runs it himself. The outside linebacker for the Wildcats did a good job staying home and making the tackle.
So here we are with the 2nd and 6, and Xander dumps it out to Peoples on the right side. He finds the crease. He is gone, one man to beat. Is he going to find the end zone? He is, and that'll be about a 40-yard touchdown pass to Draven Peoples.
So Jack Xander, second leading passer in the conference, connects on his first pass of the day for a touchdown. Essentially, it's just a bubble out of the backfield to Peoples. It's an elongated handoff, just a swing pass, get it into your most athletic player's hands and let him do some damage. He was able to break a tackle and scat down the sideline for the Cardinals' first touchdown.
When we look at as far as a running back comparison, Draven Peoples has 32 carries this season for 310 yards, which is good for 12th in the Big 8. He's averaging 77.5 yards per game and 7 touchdowns. But I didn't even take into consideration the rushing yardage when I was doing the receiving yardage rather when I was doing my research before the game here, Mark. I mean, that clearly a dangerous guy in the backfield receiving the ball as well.
Absolutely, and he missed the first couple of games of this season, so he's only played in 4. And in a matter of fact, in those 4 games he's only played in about the first half because many of those games have been blowouts.
Well, that's the unfortunate part about being a 7-0 team is then you end up getting those, and we talked about their stingy defense as well. So it looks like pending the extra point, which looks like it was good, a 7-0 lead for Sun Prairie over Verona on the Dane County Bowl. And we will take a quick break before we have the kickoff next. You're watching the Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports.
We're taking a break from the Dane County Bowl for another Dale's Heating and Air Sideline Report. And with me now, I have Eric Nee. He's the Sun Prairie Athletic Director. Thanks so much for being with us. It's a little rainy, but you guys have a good-sized student section and crew out tonight.
They are. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Definitely, our student section always travels quite well, whether it's home or away, so it's awesome.
Very impressed, always impressed with Sun Prairie. And you guys have a lot of other sports that are in season right now. Could you give us a quick update?
Yeah, so we have, obviously, our football team is 7-0 right now. Girls volleyball, 7-1, had a tough loss against Verona this past week. Cross country, our girls cross country, #1 in the state. Boys are #8 in the state, so both having success. Girls swimming have an awesome season. Actually had a nice win against Verona last night over here. Boys soccer off to another great start again this year. I know I'm forgetting a few here, but a lot of success this year so far with a lot of our teams, which is great because we had a great season last year and building off it again this year.
Absolutely, and so much success as you just mentioned. And obviously being the athletic director, everything that your job does kind of circulates around sports. Why is that so important for building a good community at school?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you come out to one of our football games on a Friday night, it is a community event. And a lot of our events, whether it's volleyball, soccer, swimming, it is a truly community event. They wrap around it. And we have such great support, whether it's from our parents to, our district administration to our community in general. Absolutely love Sun Prairie Athletics and, our clubs and our musicals and all that stuff that comes with it as well, too.
Awesome. We appreciate you guys bringing a good crowd out here tonight. We're hearing them cheering behind us, so let's head back to the game.
All right, thanks, Ellen. And now we are, back to game action here. The Dane County Bowl as Verona takes over at their own 26-yard line, looking to erase a 7-0 deficit after a 40-something yard receiving touchdown by running back Draven Peoples for Sun Prairie. It was a heck of a play there, Mark. And now as we get going for the rushing attack for Verona, going nowhere.
So we talk about both of these defense. I think we might have jinxed Dave Richardson's crew because we talked to him in pregame about his Wildcat defense not allowing a passing touchdown yet this season, and they do it on their second series.
Technically, I mean, it's not a receiver, so now we maybe change that stat to say they haven't given up a touchdown pass to a receiver.
There you go.
So that's how you save that one.
Spin it.
And now here we go with a 2nd and 11 after the blown up rush in the backfield. As you get Verona quarterback Aaron Young, a nice shot of him there. He shifts his offensive line plus tight end. There he goes in motion. Looking off to his left side, narrows in on a receiver. Ball pops up in the air and intercepted by Sun Prairie. A flag is down on the play, but we'll probably book this one as good as gold as Caden White, the DB.
So that's the 18th interception for the Sun Prairie Cardinal defense, if I have my stats right, and I can't say that I always do. But they are a ball-hawking defense. They got a lot of kids that have interceptions and fumble recoveries. They have 4 interception or fumble recoveries for touchdowns. And again, a deflected ball, somebody paying attention in the back end, Caden White, was able to pick that off. We'll see what the flag is here.
Yeah, just a heads-up play. One of those 3 white jerseys was going to get a hold of it. So a block in the back is what you think that was?
That's going to be pass interference on the defense there. The defender was there just a fraction of a second early. The ref was right there and saw it. So the Wildcat offense is going to stay out there and keep the ball.
That's a tough one. And when you say Wildcat offense, I just automatically think of the formation Wildcat. I'm like, oh, yeah. We got Verona Wildcats out here, and they survive after the rare interception by Aaron Young. So Aaron Young, fortunate to not have that pick go against them statistic-wise. But they will end up marching off the yardage in. It looks like they're placing the ball about the 40-yard line. And that'll be a nice field position for the Wildcats down 7-0.
So like we said, the defenses are both very good, but these 2 quarterbacks are very good as well. Aaron Young for the Wildcats, first in conference in passing yards with 1,145, 57% completion percentage, 14 touchdowns, like you mentioned, only 5 interceptions. Jack Zander for the Cardinals has a little over 1,000 yards passing as well, and he's got 17 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions.
So there we go, Verona in that wing T pistol offense, and making more adjustments is Aaron Young. So Young calls for a man in motion. He'll go handoff and get blown up in the process, and both of the quarterback and the runner going nowhere.
Well, we talk about this Cardinal defense and how good that they are. Again, ranked one of the top defenses in the state, if not the best defense in the state. They've only allowed 4.3 points per game. They haven't allowed any points in the second or third quarter all season long. You go, why are they so good? They fly to the ball. Well, not only that, they have really good athletes on that side of the ball. 3 kids that have scholarship offers to play college football. So you can see that's an attacking defense that makes them as good as they are.
And so now a 2nd and long, and caught as the receiver falls to the turf. That would be Jaden King. He plays defensive back, but there he is in showing his hands. And a lot of times, what do they say, Mark? If you're usually the DB because you don't have great hands, and according to our replay, it looks like that was good to pick up a big gain there on 2nd down to make it about 3rd and 3 or 4.
Well, King's a nice target for his quarterback, Young. He's 6'3", 185 pounds, split end there. He just did about an 8-yard curl pattern and sat down on the ball, even though it was thrown a little bit low, was able to pick it up off the grass for a nice catch and completion and make it manageable at 3rd and 3 here for the Wildcats.
Yeah, it was tough after a couple of plays getting blown up, and you probably wouldn't think Riley, the running back, would be negative yardage-wise, but he has negative 4 yards rushing today on 3 carries. This time he takes the pitch on the near side, and he's not going to get there. The Sun Prairie defense collapsed in on him, ball hawking, getting there, stopping the play, 4th down.
Well, it looked like Young changed the play. They might have had a pass play, but he went up to his lineman and said a few things to each side of the line, and then they went with a toss. Thought he probably saw something on that short side of the field, which maybe they could have converted that toss into a 1st down. But again, that Cardinal defense swarms to the ball and was able to stop it and force 4th and 3 for a punt.
So we only have about a minute left of this first quarter, and it is a 7-0 Sun Prairie lead over Verona after the swing pass out to Draven Peoples, which resulted in a 40-yard catch and run. But Verona's, they've had their chances, and they got away with, throwing an interception, thankfully, the pass interference. But now they will be punting, and Sun Prairie is going to be in position, good field position, maybe. There's Aaron Young. Looks like the ball way off to the side of his foot. This time the rain probably playing a factor in that one.
Well, he had a great punt his first one down. Looked like they almost got it inside the 5. It trickled into the end zone. But this one went off the side of his foot. It's only going to be a net of about, let's see where the refs mark it, a net of about a 15-yard punt as it went out of bounds there on the Sun Prairie sideline. And the Cardinals going to take over in good field position here at the 37-yard line.
Well, it's becoming a theme for Sun Prairie. I mean, they've been having a good job as far as field position goes, and they haven't had to run too many offensive plays, actually. I mean, I don't have a clock on the time of possession, but I would, dare to say that Sun Prairie hasn't had the ball as long as Verona has in this contest. And as we get the another ball out here to try and keep it dry.
Looks like they had the Verona football on the Sun Prairie sideline, and Dave Richardson and his crew want their ball back, that's for sure.
And you saw the national anthem, the Cricket Wireless National Anthem. Friends and family mobile plans from Cricket, 5 lines for $100 a month. Switch to Cricket, get more for less. The ball pops out, and Verona's got it. And that is not the start Sun Prairie is looking for, but Verona, as the quarter starts to tick down, great field position and an opportunity they sorely needed.
Trying to see who got that ball there, Eric. I think it was number 25, Max Herkert. Again, they were just running a lead play, an inside trap. They had a linebacker or the tight end pulling through, Marty Strye leading by the guard, and the ball just got popped straight up in the air. Herkert grabbed it, and if it wasn't for Xander's tackle, he would have made it to the end zone.
The quarterback's got to do everything around here, and you know that one, Mark.
Best athletes on the field.
That's right, yeah. Big leaders, and just a squirrely play on that one, Mark. The ball kind of gets lost in a bunch of bodies in there, and it squirts out and up in the air. We've seen this a couple times now. Just the slickness of the weather is causing the ball to, all possessions are worth a little bit more now as Verona takes over at about the 28-yard line of Sun Prairie. And we get a whistle before the play. It looks like that is the end of quarter number 1, I would venture to say, and it appears that is the case. And so we will take a break. We'll head to the second quarter. We'll have the second quarter of the Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports after this. Just kidding. We did not. It was not the end of the first quarter. It was a penalty flag, so they were backing up Verona, so a 5-yard penalty on the play. And making up for it, Aaron Young dumping it off, trying to find his big receiver, Jari Wea. Oops, excuse me. That's the wrong roster. I'm looking at Kyle Walton. On 2nd and 15, I believe they called that. So Boyd Clements, the intended receiver. So we'll have 4 seconds left of this quarter, so probably one more play before we actually take our end of first quarter break.
We're having some slight technical difficulties because last night the weather played a little factor, hitting the scoreboard with a bit of lightning.
Probably should have
mentioned
that.
It's making it difficult for us to see the time and down and distance and things of that nature.
So interesting. You go into a football game kind of blind, and I'm sure the crowd is having as much of a time and adjustment as we are, as well as the players. And we get this final play of the quarter, getting that ball out to Kyle Walton, and that is complete. Although I'm not sure exactly where the down marker is. It would be a 3rd down, it looks like, coming up, and we will have that at the start of quarter number 2, and that's where we will head. So we will take our end of the quarter break, and we will be back with you, the Dane County Bowl. So we will start the second quarter off with a 3rd and 4 as we flip sides of the field. And Aaron Young will pass and find his receiver. I believe that would be a first down, and I believe that was also Jaden King with his second reception of the evening.
Well, ball security is key in every football game at every level here, and we talked about it with the weather being a little sloppy out there. You got to take care of the ball. And the Sun Prairie Cardinal offense turned the ball over down in their own end of the field, but we'll see if the Wildcat offense can not only take advantage of it, but be the first team to score on the Cardinal defense in the second quarter of this season.
Well, Jaden King ranks 5th in the Big 8 in yardage this season, and he is looking for his 6th touchdown as a nice grab as he was being taken down, and that was Hikon Anderson, the tight end, and it looks like the defender got there maybe a tad bit early, but nothing to stop him from hauling that one in.
Well, the Wildcat offense has found a little bit of something throwing the ball here, moving Aaron Young out in the pocket a little bit with half rolls to the right and the left, and then having some receivers come open underneath. And the Sun Prairie Cardinal rushers aren't getting being able to pin their ears back and hunt him down as he's on the move when he's throwing the ball.
So Aaron Young with a single back, it'll be Riley, and he's hit as he throws into the corner of the end zone, and he goes incomplete. So we'll be looking at a long 3rd down as he was trying to get the ball to Boy Clements.
Well, it's interesting there. Draven Peoples, who was the all-everything on running back for the Cardinals, is out there playing defense, and he was the one that put Young down there. The Wildcats almost had something there, actually. They had a trips formation bunch to the right, and the inside receiver ran a wheel route and was actually open. If Young would have had a split second there, he might have been able to complete that for a touchdown.
And that's where you bring that extra pressure up front and get in there just enough to get Aaron Young a little bit uncomfortable as we get a long 3rd down. Nearly loses control of the ball as a bad snap and caught and hauled in. That was the tight end again, Anderson. He'll get his 2nd grab. And is it, I believe is that close enough for a first down? It looks like it is, as the offense is actually, no, they're going into field goal formation, I think. And
yeah, they're bringing a lot of guys out of the field, and again, with the shots that we're seeing here, it's hard to kind of see down and distance. Scoreboard's not working correctly, but like you said, Eric, they're bringing out their field goal team for what appears to be a 27-yard field goal attempt.
Well, the interesting part is always, Aaron Young is the plays kicker, punter, quarterback, and here he is trying to get on the board on a 4th and 5. So I call this about a 28-yard field goal attempt. High snap, but down, and it is good through the uprights, and Verona is on the board. A 28-yard field goal by Aaron Young. So we will take a break, and we will have the kickoff heading to Sun Prairie. We'll get their next possession after this. So we get a shot of the Verona crowd here as Verona is on the board after a 28-yard field goal from Aaron Young. Yes, the quarterback, punter, and place kicker getting Verona doing it all and getting on the board down 7-3 to Sun Prairie.
Well, we have 2 streaks come to an end tonight already in the first half of this game. We talked about a little bit earlier. The Verona defense had not given up a touchdown pass all season, and that's how the Sun Prairie Cardinals got on the board with a swing pass to Draven Peoples, who ran it in from 40 yards out. And then the Sun Prairie Cardinal defense, which had not been scored on in the second quarter at all season long, gives up their first 3 points as you did the correct math on the field goal for a 28-yard. I didn't add the 10 yards into the end zone. So for the Wildcat field goal to narrow the gap to 4 points with the 7-3 Cardinal lead right now.
Well, and given the fact that this weather is not the greatest, as it looks like it's kind of just misting out here now, it's not quite as heavy of rain as we've seen throughout the evening before the game started. But it looks like that's playing a little bit of a role at least, and that kick not a deep one necessarily, so taking it about the 20-ish yard line. by Sun Prairie, and that's where they did not get really any further than that, as it looks like we have a flag down on the field. So we'll see what this one ends up being as we...
Usually it's a block in the back on
That's
the
right.
kickoff on the return team here. We'll see if that holds true in this case.
We've seen a couple of our sideline reports here, Mark, and I just want to take a moment to thank Brian Olson and the people over at Dale's Heating and Air Conditioning. You got to go to dalesheating.com to find out how you can get your dryer vents cleaned for free, putting your comfort first. Also, Blowing Smoke Barbecue, the tailgating show. We got to thank Courtesy Ford for the penalty flag. And 10 Penali is also one of our penalty flag sponsors as well over there in Fitchburg. So let the good times roll.
Just got a pretty good shot of the Wildcat mascot in the Verona crowd over there. He's probably the only one staying dry tonight.
That's right. The only one comfortable with the lowering temperatures this weekend and the weather going along with it. So here we go, and the penalty does bring it back to about the 11-12 yard line, so not a good place to start for Sun Prairie, but they hand it off to Draven Peoples. He'll go off to the near side and past the 30-yard line, scrambling, scrapping for a few yards, and he'll get out to the 35-yard line, so just doing it all on the ground is Draven Peoples.
Obviously, you got to give the offensive line for the Cardinals props for opening up holes for Peoples there. But he is a bowling ball, I tell you. He's 5'9", 200 pounds, but he's quick, he's fast, he's strong. You can see he's bouncing off of tacklers. And then when he gets down here, he wants to take the hurt to you. He doesn't want to go down easy, that's for sure.
Well, he's getting good blocks by his receivers, so not even just the offensive line. So something you pride yourself on if you're the receivers coach. And Peoples will get a break, and they'll hand it off to Brian McKenzie, who will get a chunk of yardage there.
Looks like we got another penalty flag out there, usually in the area of offensive holding, so we see if that holds true as well. A lot of times, Eric, the spread offense is thought to be a passing offense, and it is, but it does run the ball. Sometimes you can run very effectively inside and on those jet sweeps, but to be able to run effectively for a spread offense, you got to have wide receivers that are going to be blocking for you. And as you mentioned on that last play, they were, because when you're blocking for some of those outside edge plays, you got to block for a long time, and you got to have really good, solid receivers who are willing to stick their nose in there to block for you.
So something you don't see too often in high school football, at least we haven't seen it a ton this season, and in a face masking call defensively for against Verona. So as McKenzie was getting brought down to the ground, ends up getting called for, or being the victim of a face masking penalty, so it's 5 yards.
High school level has adopted the rule for both pro and college as well. You got a 5-yard incidental face mask, and you got a 15-yard unsportsmanlike if you really grab it and pull. This was at the 5-yard variety, puts it really close for first down here. Looks like they're going to have to measure.
So while we have a second as they are measuring, I want to mention some of our sponsors, Jacobson Brothers Gym for plays of the game. We'll have that later for you. Jake's Brats are made by hand right here in Madison with fresh ground meats, herbs, and spices, better than grocery store brats. We'll see you at the counter. And Midwest Engine Services, you'll see them for the halftime show. They provide the best auto repair, brake service, tires, transmissions, and oil changes in Madison. So as they mark off the yardage and get ready to go for this first down, thanks to a 5-yard incidental face masking call, the Festival Foods first down. And once again, we get the ball changed out to try and keep these players on the top of their game. And in the meantime, slows down a little bit that offense for Sun Prairie, which had been rolling. They started their own 12-yard line, a big run by Draven Peoples, and then a penalty gets them where they are right now. So sending a man in motion is Xander. He fakes the handoff. He'll chuck it downfield, the near sideline, in and out of the hands, but also deflected defensively. Jack Lilly on the coverage.
Well, they tried to use the bubble to set up the long go pass off of that. Sometimes you just try to fake the swing to stop the defense in its tracks and then hit somebody over the top. But the defensive back wasn't fooled on that for the Wildcats, and the pass fell incomplete as he knocked it away.
Well, Xander able to see down the field a little bit further than most quarterbacks at the high school level. Listed at 6'5", 215 pounds. So he's a big boy, but also part of the reason he's leading the conference in yardage passing. So they do hand that ball up off the middle to Draven Peoples, who will go a handful of yards. We'll call that 4-yard gain as we look at a 3rd and 6.
So they've been able to run the ball relatively well here, but that short passing game is something that hasn't been in play too much. Xander's been throwing the ball deep. With the weather conditions, you think they might want to go back to either the hitches, the bubbles, maybe the swing passes out of the backfield to get the passing game on track for the Cardinal offense.
So Peoples, the lone back in the back yardage here as we get ready for the 3rd and 6, barking out the commands, getting these signals from Coach Kaminsky at the sideline. Finding the guy in the slant route and caught as he gets going down to the ground. And he throws the ball to his big tight end, or actually receiver, Caden Kapanen. Looks like a tight end, but he's 6'3", 185 pounds and going down and getting it.
So Caden Kapanen is has a scholarship offer that he's accepted to the University of North Dakota for defensive back, but he's showing his skills on offense here.
And off to the left side is Peoples, and he'll tiptoe the sideline, and not sure how many yards they're going to mark off there for him, but that looks like it would be close, if not a first down, and Sun Prairie signaling for a first down, another maybe 10, 11 yards.
Well, number 69 for the Cardinal offensive line led Peoples on the edge there. I don't have a number for him in the program here, but I want to call it out if I did because he did a great job lead blocking on that run.
Yeah, I don't have a 69 on the roster either, but nice job either way. And now off to the right side. No, Xander will keep it. He'll pick up a couple of yards on the quarterback keeper. Peoples looks over to the sideline to Coach Kaminsky as well.
So one of the keys to the spread offense and rushing attack is that read play. So a lot of times you'll see the quarterback riding the running back as he did, as Xander rode Peoples there, and then keeping it. I'll tell you what, though, 9 times out of 10, I want to give that ball to number 3.
Well, there they do give it to number 3, and he'll rush off to the right side of the tackle. He'll spin off a tackle and chug his way inside the 20-yard line. So I see exactly where they want to mark that one. But nice job slipping through all those black jerseys, and that should be close to a first down, I would think.
He is a load to bring down. You see the Wildcat defense is finding out. He runs hard. Again, he's a bowling ball, 5'9", 200 pounds. It's going to take a couple of Wildcat defenders to slow him down. They're going to have to mix things up a little bit to slow this Cardinal rushing attack.
So they'll call this 3rd and 1. So get a nice shot there at the center. Xander will keep it himself, and you would think that would be enough for a first down. It's about 3 yards on the carry.
Yeah, he certainly got plenty there, and I like it when Xander or any quarterback gets the ball and just decisive with it, sticks his foot in the ground, gets north and south to pick up that first down. Oftentimes with the spread offense, you're getting the ball in gun, which is kind of counterintuitive. You got 1 yard to get a first down, but you're snapping the ball 5 yards behind you, and you got to run another 5 yards. Right. Why not get under center, get the snap, and get forward for that yard you need.
Spoken like a true quarterback there, as now we get that Peoples in the Wildcat offense, and he'll go into the end zone, although it would appear a hold on the play will negate that touchdown run by Draven Peoples. And nicely drawn up play, but you could tell that was not the quarterback. From
how ironic, Eric, that the Wildcat was run against the Wildcats there with Peoples in the quarterback position, who just caught the ball, did a little bit of a fake, bounced the ball outside, was able to score. But we'll see who the penalty is on. Most likely the Sun Prairie Cardinals for holding here, negating that touchdown and backing them up.
Yeah, you see that was a nice shot of the crowd getting into it here. Despite the rain, despite the not so great weather we've had over the last couple of weeks, it's looking nice here. And Verona avoids a touchdown run against them and to go down 14-3. As we wait the official word on that, we expect that to be a hold against Sun Prairie, and it is. So we'll have any timeouts during this game are you break, I fix timeouts. If it has a power button, we can fix it. Come in today for a free diagnostic test. You break, I fix. What can I fix for you today? So it ends up being a first and I think 20 as they're going to call it. And McKenzie finds his way, fighting for the extra yardage, and it's a touchdown. I don't believe it. On what kind of a play out of a touchdown that was called back by a hold, and they come back with another running play. They go to McKenzie this time, and he finds the end zone. And, man, are the Cardinals fired up.
Well, McKenzie actually is their leading rusher on the season with 386 total yards rushing. He wanted to prove, hey, Peoples isn't the only one who could run the ball for the Cardinals in the backfield. I can get it too.
Forget about
and
him.
He broke about 2 or 3 tackles and fought his way into the end zone for the Cardinal touchdown.
So I'm going to call that a 20-yard touchdown run by McKenzie. And so that would be a 13-3 pending the extra point. Nearly blocked, but I think that's up and good. And now a 14-3 lead for Sun Prairie. Really starting to pour it on. We'll see if Verona can answer. And we will take a break and see the answer to that question after this. Six minutes until halftime, and Verona will try to answer as they receive the kick from Sun Prairie. Here we see the replay of the McKenzie touchdown. 1, 2, 3, 4 broken tackles, and he fights his way into the end zone. He wanted it again, and look at Peoples on the sideline, just as happy as McKenzie is on that touchdown. That's team football, and that's, Coach Kaminsky, I'm sure, preached that to his guys, especially as we talked to him before the game, switching offensive styles coming into the year, and it's paid dividends. Looking to get win number 8, and they're 4th in the state right now in the polls, and as you mentioned, sometimes as high as 2nd. So we'll see how that ends up working out after this game. And here is the kickoff from Sun Prairie to Verona with 6 minutes to play in this second quarter. And so caught it near the goal line, out past the 30 to about the 32, 33-yard line for Verona. So it'll be decent starting field position. But time, you don't want to say there's still plenty of time left in this game, but Verona hasn't been able to really dig in and prove they're, at the level of Sun Prairie. Not that they're a bad team at all, but it's just Sun Prairie is just on a roll right now. Well, you can't get behind by a lot, Eric. You're right. The Wildcat offense has been pretty efficient all year long. They're throwing the ball a little bit more than they usually do, and we'll see if they can continue to throw it effectively in this rain. But you can't let Sun Prairie get up by much more than they have already. So Aaron Young had 2 running backs in the backfield, and he ends up switching it out, going out to receiver there in that wing T, and he's got a man chasing him. He gets the ball out of there, and it is incomplete as he tries to hit Jaden King a little bit low as he was rushed on the play, getting chased down from behind from Tyler Prescia. Well, we've seen the Wildcats have decided to roll Taylor out either right or left, and the Cardinal defense is adjusting by bringing defensive back blitz, corner blitzes, so to speak. If they choose the right side, Young's going to be dead to rights, but that time he was able to get the ball away. Wasn't a completion, but they're moving the pocket for him, giving him a better chance to get their aerial attack going. So Aaron Young looking to move this offense again. Another interesting formation as we get the actual formation there just before the snap. And so loading up that box, then again sending Riley in motion, and knocked down at the line. It's at the defensive end of the linebacker. Yep, number 88, Josh Dinga. He's a 6'6", 230-pound defensive end. We talked to Coach Kaminsky before the game, and he told us that Dinga's got several scholarship offers, including the likes of North Dakota and Northern Iowa. So a good defensive player there. A couple of other ones that have scholarship offers. Marty Stry actually has a preferred walk-on offer, linebacker, for the Cardinals. He's got a preferred walk-on offer to the Wisconsin Badgers. And then, of course, Caden Kauppinen, who's accepted the scholarship offer to North Dakota to play defensive back for them. And Josh Dinga, a first-team all-conference defensive lineman last year and a semifinalist this year for the Tim Crumry Senior Defensive Lineman Award. And so here on the third down is Sun Prairie, and Verona looking to clamp down, and bam, in the backfield. They read that one perfectly, and they're taking down everybody. Sun Prairie player loses helmet in the process, and that's exactly how you draw it up. You're attacking absolutely everybody in that backfield for the Wildcats, and Wildcats just in a world of hurt right now. Well, they tried to mix it up a little bit. Their first 2 passing plays on this drive went incomplete. It's 3rd and long. They're expecting the Cardinals, thinking they're going to throw the ball, so they try to run a draw or just a quick dive. It doesn't go anywhere with
with the Cardinal defense, didn't fool anybody.
So losing actually yardage on the play, and Aaron Young will punt this one away. So we on every play, and the ball is a nice roll, and so Sun Prairie will at least, not start in as great a field position as maybe they could have, but that's a testament to the great punting by Aaron Young, and that's how this one will start for Sun Prairie. So we'll take a break, and when they switch possessions, we'll be back with the Dane County Bowl after this. 5:16 left in the quarter. They hand off to Draven Peoples. That's Sun Prairie's running back, but stuffed in the backfield by a host of black jerseys for Verona, and that's what they needed, but the clock continues to run now.
That's a good defensive stop for the Wildcat defense there. Draven Peoples, if you could get him in the backfield and not get his momentum going, you could slow him down some. But like we talked about with the ball control, ball security, this wet weather out there, the ball's going to get heavier. It's going to be harder to hang on to and harder to throw.
And so Xander will throw towards the middle of the field. He was looking for Cooper Nelson, but either Nelson wasn't running the right route or he wasn't sure who he was throwing to. Maybe it was a rushed play. It was not where he expected it to be.
Certainly Xander threw that ball before he wanted to because of the on-rusher for the Wildcat defense. Number 43 coming right at Xander was Ben Vandervest and made him throw the ball a split second before he wanted to.
And so we end up with a third and 13 for the Cardinals offense, and Verona really looking to get this ball back for their offense as you see the rain really blowing here at Verona High School. And trying to draw the offensive lineman off sides, not working, but believe that'd be Draven Peoples on the carry. He'll pile drive his way for a few yards.
Well, he got quite a bit of that back. Like you said, Eric, it was 3rd and 13. And Peoples, again, isn't touched for 5 or 6 yards. And then when he is, he just drags guys and ends up making it a fourth and 3 or so, which I'm sure is going to bring on a Sun Prairie punt here.
So they'll call that about 4 or 5 yards maybe on this 4th down play. Sun Prairie gets ready to punt. So it's a 3rd and out for them, but the clock continues to run, so at least they're able to run some clock off and damage anything Verona might be able to do offensively. As Verona, when they get this ball back, they're going to be going into the wind here.
Yeah, this is a good defensive possession for the Wildcat defense. Able to get a negative yard play on 1st down, slowing down Peoples, an incompletion, and then to prevent Peoples from getting the 1st down on the run there. So they're going to be happy to get the ball back.
So it's a you-break, I-fix timeout called by Sun Prairie as Coach Kaminsky wants to discuss what they want to do on this 4th and medium play. So we'll keep it here as we see what they decide to do.
You got to punt it, Eric. I'm sure it's tempting to go for it, but it's at the 35-yard line here. You're rolling the dice here. You got a comfortable lead, punt the ball away, and make the Wildcats go the length of the field in drizzle and wet conditions, as opposed to try to go for it, not make it here, and give the momentum to the Wildcats.
Well, we've seen many times in this game the Festival Foods 1st downs. So Festival Foods, it's the little things. Visit your nearest Festival Foods today. Also, the You Move Me touchdown plays. You Move Me, your local full-service movers whose mission is to move you, not just your boxes. You Move Me makes moving almost fun. So a lot of sponsors here to thank, and all the food and everything. We had plenty of that, Mark, before the broadcast tonight. So no one is hungry here in the broadcast booth, and we thank all our sponsors for that. As Sun Prairie gets ready to punt here on the 4th and 4. It's a high snap, and looked like he slipped a little bit as he was getting his footing for the initial punt, but it does get away cleanly. But decent enough starting field position for Verona, but into the wind and the rain, we'll see how that factors in as we near the end of this 1st half.
You're absolutely right. He did slip punting that ball there, was able to get actually a good enough leg on it to punt it 33 yards down the way. But you'll see as this game goes on, this field's going to get more and more slick. The ball's going to get heavier. It's going to be slippery on your jersey and harder to throw. And whichever team can take care of the ball the best might have the best chance to pull this one out.
Well, we've seen a couple times some of the holds, and I'm wondering if, I never played competitive football. Does that make it, when it's rainy, does it help, does it make more holds or fewer holding calls? And the ball's on the ground as Aaron Young lost it, and Verona ends up falling on it. I don't know how that happened, but
That
he does
was
have his offensive lineman to
unusual.
thank.
It looked like Young.
It just slipped out of his hand.
The ball just drops out of his hand here. He goes back to throw it, falls out. Sun Prairie falls on it, appears to have it. It looked like it scooted out of there. Verona actually came up with it, but I think the refs blew the ball dead, and it's going to be Sun Prairie ball. Wow.
That is very interesting. I mean, Thomas Becker, the senior offensive lineman, fell on that, but I can't imagine how this would be Sun Prairie ball, and they do.
Well, if they had a challenge flag, which they don't at the high school level, obviously, that would be a challengeable play because the Sun Prairie Cardinal defender fell on the ball, but as he tried to scoop it up, it slithered out from him and just went squirting down the field, and Verona recovered it.
Yeah, that's one of those. Does he have clear possession of the football? And I mean, they can't see the replays that we have, so we have access to that, and we can see many times whether or not it was.
About the only thing they can be discussing here was if the whistle blew, which would have blown the play dead. Another ref could come in and say, "Hey, I saw that ball squirt loose," and Verona actually recovered it. But the first ref said, "I blew my whistle, assuming that the ball was dead," and that's where the ball's dead, and it's Sun Prairie ball.
You know, rules are rules, but you got to have a human factor in there for some error, and it just doesn't. That part doesn't really make sense to me. But I get where you're going with it. You got to get the call right. So as the officials are still discussing this play, we want to thank the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers Give Back program. For the second year, the Green Bay Packers are proud supporters of the Wisconsin 57 High School Bowl Series. Go Pack Go! Monona Bank, we had the coin toss before the game. We're not just your neighborhood bank, we're your movers. Monona Bank, today's mortgage rates, true mobile banking, community involvement.
Oh, my apologies. I think they are giving it back to the Verona Wildcats on offense here.
As they should, yeah, it looks like.
And apparently because there was a penalty, not because of all the balls slithering around on the right field.
So, all right, is that a condition of let's make up a penalty, something that we can award Verona the ball just to offset the not the correct call on the field type of situation? It's interesting, and it ends up being a 15-yard penalty.
Now
it
looks like Sun Prairie offense is back out there. Sorry, folks, this is very confusing, but I'm sure the referees are trying to get it right. But right now, I'm going to stop guessing and just kind of wait to sort this thing out.
Well, okay, so the penalty flag, it looks like it backs up then Sun Prairie's offense. And it doesn't help either that a lot of these players play both sides of the ball.
We got Sun Prairie's offense and defense on the field right now. It looks like the Wildcats have their offense running out there.
Okay, so here we go.
There must have been a penalty on Sun Prairie's defense before the fumble, which keeps it the Wildcat ball. And now it's going to be 1st and 5, as we can see.
Thank God we have you, Mark. I don't know what to make of that play, that sequence otherwise. But Verona does end up keeping the football, and that is the correct outcome. I don't know if it's the correct call. Correct outcome, though. And here we go as we get another timeout.
Verona decided, hey, with all this
Verona,
confusion, let's just stop it, get everybody squared up, and come out running a play.
So while they are discussing that, we will take a break, discuss what we just saw in the break. We'll take a break and be back with more 57 Sports. As we try to make sense of the outcome of that play and the penalty flag on the play, now we have the U-Break iFix timeout that Verona called on a 1st and 5 as time is ticking down here in the first half, and down 14-3 the Wildcats are, but they will have the ball on their own about 37-yard line. And time to move the ball, but they're going into the elements, into the wind, and into against a very stout Sun Prairie defense.
Well, we could see Coach Richardson for the Wildcats was still out there talking to the refs, trying to figure out just what happened there. The long and short of it was there was a Sun Prairie penalty, negated the turnover either way, and it's 1st and 5 for the Wildcats.
So here's Aaron Young. He'll take a low snap and run off to the right side, gets decent blocking in the pocket. He will find his receiver, Jaden King, and he will get out of bounds at about the 44-yard line. So on a 1st and 5, that would be a first down on the play.
Well, once again, they move the pocket a little bit. The outside receiver just runs about a 12-yard comeback route. And Aaron Young has shown why he's the Big 8 leader in passing yards as he's able to deliver a strike in sloppy conditions.
Well, and as the weather continues, I mean, it looks like it's eased up maybe a little bit from what it was before. And time becoming a factor, Aaron Young and looking to drive his offense and get down the field. The ball tipped up in the air, a penalty flag. It looks like Sun Prairie says they intercepted that ball, although we will see if that ends up being a call that's upheld.
Well, it certainly was tipped, and it looked like a Sun Prairie defender dove for the ball and had it momentarily, but it may have bounced out. Either way, there's a penalty flag down on the field here, so we'll see what the call is and how it's going to affect this play.
So interesting sequence we've seen here at the latter stages of the second quarter as we have about 3:22 left in this quarter in the Dane County Bowl.
Just for our crowd, Eric, in the bottom right, we're seeing a black box there. Normally, we have the time of the game on there. We don't have that today because not only was the weather a factor tonight, it was last night with all that heat lightning. It struck the scoreboard. We don't know what the down and distance is. We don't know what the official score is. We're keeping score ourselves. So the weather is playing havoc on a lot of this game tonight.
You know, Mark, it's one thing for us to deal with that, but you know, for the players and the coaches and all the people who it really, really matters to, they're, you know, got to be more frustrated than we are to figure out what's going on in this game as they get a handoff to, I believe that would be Riley, and not much doing on that play except for the clock continues to run.
Well, the Wildcat defense, they're trying to stay honest with what they're doing. They don't want to just throw the ball on every down, but it's apparent that this Cardinal defense is very tough against the run, and there's not a lot of room for the runners to work with there. They're not opening up a lot of holes for the running backs. So this passing game for the Wildcats, which is doing really well, so far Aaron Young is 8 for 12 for a number of yards here, and they're going to just have to keep airing this thing out to be effective against this Cardinal defense.
So we'll get you some stats after the halftime. We're doing our best to be accurate with the stats as our camera rumbling with the crowd is getting into this, and the second and long, and the ball in the area of his receiver, Boyd Clemens, but definitely a pass interference call, although Sun Prairie believes that was an uncatchable ball.
Nice concept there for the Wildcat offense there. They had the H-back coming in motion, and then he goes into the flat to try to draw some attention to that flat. The outside receiver just does a slant over the top of the flat route, and the defensive back was just, for the Cardinals, just a little bit too aggressive and got to him before the ball got there. It's going to be another first down for the Wildcats.
So that is going to be a pass interference call against Sun Prairie. So the Cardinals kind of shooting themselves in the foot with some penalties here on this drive as Verona not moving the ball in huge chunks, but the way they're doing it is on some short dink and dunk plays, but then also penalties. And, you know, if Verona's going to get on the board here, they can thank Sun Prairie a lot for that.
Certainly, and we're not sure what would have happened on that other play that we thought maybe was a fumble there if the Cardinals would have got it or not. But that little 5-yard penalty has played a lot into this drive.
So about 2 minutes left before halftime, and Aaron Young being chased down, and he is gobbled up in the backfield, and that's not going to be what Verona was looking for at all.
Yeah, he didn't have any time to throw the ball. He was ransacked by that Cardinal defense. A couple of Cardinal defenders taking him down there. That's why they're moving him out of the pocket, rolling him to the left, to the right a little bit, giving him some room to breathe, and that time he had none.
You know, one of his receivers that you saw on the replay there was just, you know, on the ground. I think he slipped on his route, and he just put his hands to his helmet. Like, it's just unbelievable set of circumstances because he might have been open otherwise, and instead it's a 5-yard loss. So Aaron Young will roll out to his left. He's going to have to throw this one as he's getting chased down, and that ball going incomplete. And so the clock stops under 2 minutes to play in this first half.
Well, Aaron Young just being a smart quarterback there. He rolls left. He's a right-handed quarterback, so he's got to set his feet. Nobody's open. So he throws it away rather than takes the sack. Smart play by him, but it will bring up 3rd and 15 for the Wildcat offense. And it looks like we have another penalty flag down on the field here. Not sure who this one's on. Usually in the backfield it's either one of two things, holding or a late hit on the quarterback.
Well, you saw the Pacific Union replay earlier, and you are the reason that we do what we do. Join the Pacific Union experience and ditch the process. See what it's like with a mortgage company when they put you first. Also, we will have the offensive and defensive MVPs after the game, the Brunzell Lumber offensive MVP and Little Strokes Swim Academy for the defensive MVP, and that penalty flag going against Sun Prairie.
Roughing the quarterback on the Cardinal defense. So tack that 15-yard penalty onto the 3 other ones so far, Eric, on this drive. The Cardinal defense have given up 45 yards of penalties to allow the Wildcats to march all the way down the field so far.
I mean, how many opportunities do you need to give your opponent to stay alive in this game? Nice job by the running back to pick up the chip block, and nobody home on that pass for Aaron Young.
Yeah, this Cardinal defense is pretty good, but, you can't play defense with both hands tied behind your back. And again, you're getting penalties, so it's their own fault here. But they've given the Wildcats 45 yards on this drive here.
Well, we can see on our camera on your screen right now, on the lower part of your screen, Coach Kaminsky in the maroon-colored visor. He was pacing back and forth and just got to be frustrated and upset with his guys for all the penalties on this drive, saying, look, guys, we've got one of the best defenses in the Big 8 and state in general, and we're just giving away opportunities right now. And Aaron Young with the long second down play. So he'll hand it off to Riley off the right side. He finds some room and squirting through, and it looks like Sun Prairie says the ball was out, but it doesn't look like the officials are buying it. Or are they?
Well, it looked like the runner was going to be tackled in the backfield. Joe Riley,
down by contact,
he squirted out of the tackle, got to the alley and just sprinted upfield and wasn't stopped till he got to where we at here, the 9-yard line or so.
Yeah, we're pretty close
First
to
and goal for the Wildcat
to find the
offense.
goal, and Wildcats, they got in this situation before, ended up with a field goal. And Aaron Young hoping to not have to use his leg in the kicking game. It looks like maybe a hold on offense, but nothing doing, not called. Aaron Young takes it himself down to about the 6-7 yard line. So that'll keep the clock moving.
Well, everybody covered in the defensive backfield by that Cardinal defense. And Young just tucked the ball and ran and got it a little bit past the line of scrimmage. Looks like somebody's taking a timeout here. Going to be second and goal from about the 6-yard line for the Wildcat offense.
So we'll take a break while there is a timeout. We'll come back with second and goal for the Wildcats. The Wildcats with a second and goal opportunity here, really looking to take advantage with some bad calls. There was an interesting fumble call on this drive. There were a lot of penalties by Sun Prairie and really affording Verona a great opportunity here to score before the half. We got about a minute left. Throwing into the corner of the end zone, nearly intercepted, and his receiver had to end up playing defensive back and knock that one away. He was looking for Jaden King.
Orlando Fenderson, the senior defensive back, 6'2", 200-pounder. They were running a fade to him. He saw the ball, went up and high-pointed it, almost intercepted it for the Cardinal defense. Great defense there on that fade pattern.
So it looks like about 40 seconds to the half, and Sun Prairie really needing to lock down here. It's that bend, don't break type of defense, and as you brought up in the pregame, Mark, less than 5 points a game they're giving up, and right now if they hold Verona to a field goal, that would be a moral victory considering the circumstances of this drive. So Aaron Young looking for the slant. He finds his man, and he's into the end zone. That's going to be a touchdown to Noah Stefferson.
So again, a staple of this Wildcat offense is just those quick slants. And Aaron Young threw a strike to his receiver there to get the Wildcats on the board. What a turn of events. What could have been a killer turnover for a fumble in their own end. The Cardinals could have recovered it and potentially gone up 21-3. Penalty on the Cardinals, a couple more penalties. The next thing you know, the Wildcats score and about to make this thing a 4-point game once again.
We're going to get whistles before the kick.
And a rightful end of the drive.
How about it, yeah.
Sun Prairie penalty.
So we have about 35 seconds left before halftime, and Verona just trying to finish this drive off, and just the whistles keep coming, and the officials getting a lot of work tonight. We get offsides, we get penalties on both teams, it looks like, and we're going to get offsetting penalties. So thanks for that. Always my favorite thing about football, Mark, is the offsetting penalties. So
just redo the down.
Here we go. The kick is low and blocked, and just, I don't know if he didn't get a piece of that or if it was a bad hold, but Aaron Young misses the extra point, and it's going to be a 14-9 game after the touchdown. So let's take a break, and we will have the final moments of the first half of the Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports. So Stephenson on Verona catches a 5-yard slant touchdown pass from Aaron Young, and that is how Verona is now in one possession away from a Sun Prairie. It's 14-9 Sun Prairie. The extra point no good. Aaron Young not able to get the ball up and through the uprights with I'm not sure if it was a bad hold or the elements had something to do with that, Mark, but with less than 40 seconds left in this first half, I don't know if Sun Prairie just kneels it and heads to the locker room.
Yeah, it depends what happens here on this kick return. If they get a big return, maybe they take a shot. If they don't, maybe they take a knee and go into halftime.
So into the elements at about the 25-yard line, caught by Sun Prairie, and they'll take it to about the 34-yard line before being dragged backwards a couple yards. So not too much time left in this first half, but Verona got out of that drive what they were hoping for, minus the extra point. They needed a touchdown to, really kind of go into the locker room happy, considering some of the, not huge plays they've had, but they've been methodical getting down the field at times. And Sun Prairie's defense, maybe some cracks.
They got to feel pretty good about themselves. I'm speaking about Verona here because, like we said, it was 14-3. That turnover could have been a backbreaker, and instead they put up a touchdown on the other end.
So there's Jack Zander. He'll hand it off to Draven Peoples, who will carry for about 3-4. No, he's still going and carrying the ball for a first down. So when you think he's going to be ready to take it into the half, he's going to pick up about 12 yards on the carry.
And once again, we can't see the clocker, so we don't have an accurate depiction of how much time is left in the half because of the scoreboard malfunctioning due to the lightning last night. So, again, probably in the neighborhood of 20 seconds or so to go. We'll see if Zander airs it out here.
So it is a 1st and 10. They go 5 wide. They dump it off to Peoples in the flat. He'll find some room off to the right side. Another crease, and he'll take it inside the 40.
And 2 plays with Peoples with the ball in his hand. Again, you can see what a player he is. He gets some big chunk yardage on a running play, which was a safe play to run. And now they complete a long pass to him. And next thing you know, they got a chance to score.
Well, again, I don't know. It looks like apparently Sun Prairie does have some timeout, so they will take one here, and we'll stay with them as they get ready for one final heave. They have 1 second left on the clock here, Mark, and I don't know if the arm of Jack Zander, can he find the end zone from here? Can he reach it? I don't know if we're going to have one of those situations.
Well, he certainly has enough arm. I've seen him play a couple of times this year, and he can throw probably in the neighborhood of 60 yards. But is the ball too wet and soggy for them to be able to have Zander give a good chance to hail it up, do the old Aaron Rodgers hail?
Yeah, that'll be key. The grip on the football is something sometimes you take for granted, and here we go with 1 second, 1 tick left on the clock before halftime, and we will have a couple of our ladies. We'll have Ellen and Emily with a halftime, a little wrap, a little tease of what they have coming up for halftime. So we'll talk with them in just a moment after this play as we get Sun Prairie. The Cardinals are getting lined up, and it's taking quite a while out of that timeout. So as the official walks it off, the ball is in place for the final play of this first half.
Dave
and
Richardson
maybe
takes the timeout.
Verona doesn't like what they see, and they will take a you break, I fix timeout.
Well, each of these teams had timeouts remaining for sure.
I mean, you can't take them to the locker room with you.
Yeah, Verona was the only one that used a timeout prior to this drive here. So Sun Prairie has 2 left, and after this timeout, Richardson has 1 more. So he just wanted to get a look at the formation that the Cardinals are going to come out in, maybe adjust his defense a little bit to make sure nothing crazy happened on what we can assume will only be a Hail Mary here, and get his guys lined up properly.
Well, sometimes it's a gamble you take. We saw there was a game last year that we covered where a team had one of these situations. It's one of those, let's just throw it up there and see what happens. And what ended up happening is an interception that was taken the other way for a touchdown. And so it's always a risk. It's not always just touchdown or incompletion. I mean, you still got to play some defense if it ends up being an interception. So Draven Peoples will be there in the backfield probably to chip off any rushers for Verona. Well, he ends up just taking a run off to the left side, he's going to get about 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 yards, and that'll be the end of the first half. So we will toss it down to the sideline in just a second, and we will talk with Emily and Ellen. We'll see what they have coming up at the halftime.
Thanks, guys. It's a little rainy, but we're still having a great time out here at the A1 Furniture Dane County Bowl, and that's the end of the first half. And we've got a really fun halftime show coming up, don't we, Emily?
We do, yep. The Midwest Engine and Automotive Services halftime show is going to bring us the dance team, the cheerleading squad. We're going to have performances for both. We're going to get some interviews with several really important people, aren't we?
Awesome, we are. It's going to be a blast. You're not going to want to miss it, so please stay with us. Back to the Midwest Engine and Automotive Services halftime show. With me now, I have one of the Brunzell Lumber family members. This is Carson. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yep, thank you so much.
Now, you kind of have a special tie to Verona, the school we're at tonight. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
What's your connection?
I was a running back for 4 years and made all Big 8 as a running back, so it's really nice to be back and watch the boys and stuff. So
That's awesome. And Brunzell Lumber, it sounds like, is really run by your whole family.
Oh, yeah. Yep, definitely. It's been there for, I think I'm the 5th generation, so.
Oh, that's so cool. And I'm really excited because later on in the game tonight, once the conclusion of the game, you're actually going to get to hand out one of the trophies.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. It'd be really nice to see, who gets it, and it's just kind of nice to be back in it and say hi to everyone, so. Absolutely.
I was going to ask, does it feel kind of surreal to be out here on the field again when this used to be your stomping grounds?
Yeah, it's definitely weird, and it's some new guys I don't even know, but the seniors I know, so it's really nice to, watch them play again, and it's awesome. So.
And I'm sure it's always great to come home.
Oh, definitely. No place better than home.
I love it. Again, Carson with Brunzell Lumber. Stick around because at the end of the game, he'll be handing away one of our MVP trophies. And we'll head back. We'll have more halftime show coming up right after this.
Hey, we're back here at the Dane County Bowl. We have another Dale's Heating and Air sideline report for our Midwest Engine Automotive Service halftime show. I am here with a couple serious fans, a couple ball boys. We got some action going on here in Sun Prairie. So, guys, I have Ian, Teddy, Drew, right? And Lucy. All right. So we're going to ask you a couple questions about what does it mean to be a ball boy?
You put the ball in, if a ball gets out of bounds or wet, make sure the ball's dry for the quarterback.
That's a very important job, especially on a night like tonight that's crazy rainy, right? So you got a lot of work to do out there. If they miss it, it might be your fault. I'm just kidding. It's never your fault. So how did you get into this?
I don't know. They just asked me down.
They asked you down? You must be pretty good at that kind of work, right?
No, Drew's dad is the coach. Yeah.
Oh, so your dad's a coach. What's that like? Is that fun having him as a coach?
Yeah.
Yeah? He's probably pretty proud of you guys, isn't he?
Yeah.
They couldn't do this without you, can they? No. Is there anything else you want to say about tonight or about the team or about your school?
Go SB! SB! Verona sucks!
No, we're not going to say that. We're just going to be happy fans. Wait, right here. Thank you again. This is another Dale's Heating and Airline Sideline Report. We're going to have more after the break. Do a cheer!
Welcome back to the Midwest Engine and Automotive Services halftime show. And with me now, I've got some Verona ladies, lots of athletes in this group, so we kind of have to boast a little bit about everything that's going on in their world of sports, especially golf. We're kind of graced in the presence of greatness right here. Can you give us a little update on kind of your announcement and what's going on with you?
Yeah, so the Verona golf team made it to state. So Monday and Tuesday at U Ridge, they'll be there. So
awesome. That's so exciting. Congratulations. We got to talk about volleyball too. You guys just had a big win.
Yeah, so we played Prairie and had a huge win against them. Went to 5 sets on Tuesday, and then we beat Craig in 3 sets on Thursday, which then named us conference champions.
Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations. And soccer. We got to talk about soccer too.
Oh, no, it was tennis.
Oh, tennis, excuse me. But soccer's doing well too, is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And tennis, what's going on in the world of tennis?
Tennis, my friend Meredith Conley won singles. She's going to state, so come support.
I love it. Go Wildcats, right? Again, we're here with the Midwest Engine and Automotive Services halftime show, and we'll have more coming up right after this. Welcome back to the Midwest Engine and Automotive Services halftime show. And I've got another group of Verona students with me now. These people are the homecoming court. Congratulations, you guys. That's super exciting. You might have just saw that they got to walk out onto the field and all be announced. And it's some really exciting stuff going on for you guys. Obviously, it's always super fun to be a part of the homecoming court and represent your student body. You guys got some other stuff going on this weekend, it sounds like.
Yeah, tomorrow we have a dance from 8 to 11 at the high school. And the king and queen will be announced there. 2 of us will.
Super exciting. And have you guys been doing like a homecoming week and everything else?
Yeah, every day we had a dress-up day for a theme, and the whole school participated.
That's so exciting, and one of those moments your senior year that you'll never forget. Has there been a memorable moment this past week that you guys can recall?
You got one?
I think the pep rally, I actually got to be a part of like talking and stuff, so that was pretty cool, yeah.
Well, congratulations, you guys. Thanks for taking a moment to step away with us and have some fun this weekend. Congratulations. Thanks for being with us. And we'll be back with more Midwest Engine Services right after this.
Welcome back here. We're with the Verona cheer team. We're back here for another Midwest Engine Automotive Services halftime show interview. Ladies, thanks for being with us today. Absolutely. Having a good time, even though it's a little rainy out here? Yeah. All right, good. Got some school spirit here, I see. Fabulous. Let me ask you, what does it mean to you to be a cheerleader? How much do you enjoy it?
I love cheerleading. Like, it's just a very big part of my life because, it's fun and it's a family. So, family atmosphere is always fun. So, yeah.
That's great. I know it's a really positive atmosphere to be in. You get to come out and support your team, be part of something. That's great. What's your favorite part about being a cheerleader? The dancing, the running around, the yelling? What do you think?
My favorite part is the stunting and the cool tricks that we get to do in the air, but also I just love how it brings girls together as a family.
That's wonderful. Do you get thrown up in the air?
No, I throw her, actually.
You guys are brave. You guys are brave. So tell me about what's your favorite thing about being a cheerleader? Tell me about it.
Well, I really like the dancing and the stunting, but most of all, just the family that we have as a cheer squad. We really have a lot of teamwork together, and it's really nice.
That's awesome. Do you guys have any events coming up or anything you want to talk about as a team, or is it just kind of like get out there in school spirit?
Just get out there and show our school spirit every week.
Fabulous. Oh,
we have a kitty clinic next week Friday.
What is it?
Kitty clinic next week Friday, so we get to dance with all the younger youth girls, and we have pizza parties and stuff, so yeah.
That's fantastic. Lead by example, right? Well, ladies, thank you for joining us. Thank you for doing what you do. And again, this has been a Midwest Engine and Automotive Service halftime show report. We'll have more after the break.
Welcome back to the Midwest Engine and Automotive Services halftime show. And with me now, I have Prairie girls tennis. So excited to have you guys out here tonight. You're cheering on the football team in the rain, nonetheless. But we've got to talk a little bit about tennis and what's going on. Can you give us a little bit of an update?
Well, we just made to team state, got 40 points at sectionals over Badger school over, I don't actually know where they are, but well, they had 30 points, and I know we won. So that's great for us, yep.
So the season's going well so far. What are your goals moving forward for the rest of the season?
Well, I know as a team we'd really like to get past the first round at team state this year. I know the past 2 years we've lost first round, had some pretty tough teams, but this year I think we'd really like to make it past.
Awesome stuff. And of course, you guys are out supporting football. It's so great to see other teams supporting each other, and I'm sure if people want to come follow you guys and come out to your games, is there a place they can go for your schedule?
Yep, Nielsen Tennis Stadium, that's where individual state is next weekend, and team state the weekend after that.
Great stuff, guys. Thanks so much for being with us, and we'll be back with more Midwest Engine Services halftime show right after this.
It's halftime here at the Dane County Bowl, where Sun Prairie leads Verona 14-9. Keeping track on other games around the area, we were looking at Monona Grove and Stoughton. They're nearing halftime. It's 34-20 Silver Eagles. But in this game, Mark, a lot of penalties on that last drive against Sun Prairie defensively, allowing Verona to get in the end zone.
It certainly was. They could have had the ball in their own end zone or the own side of the ball on that fumble recovery. We're not quite sure what all transpired there, but the long and short of it was Verona retained the ball. After 3 or 4 more Sun Prairie penalties, Verona punched it in to bring it to 14-9.
So Verona will take it from in their own end zone. It's going to be a touchback. Verona offensively hasn't had the best of luck. I'm looking at running back Joe Riley, 5 carries, 10 yards. Jaden King, he's receiving 3 receptions for 20 yards. You got the numbers for the quarterbacks there, Mark?
Yeah, Aaron Young had a pretty productive first half there. 9 for 17, 66 yards and a touchdown. If the Verona Wildcats are going to continue to have any success on offense, it's going to be using Young's right arm for sure.
Now looking at the Sun Prairie side of things, running back Draven Peoples, 13 carries for 88 yards, 2 receptions for 62 yards and a score. So doing big things, Draven Peoples. So as Verona gets set with a 5-point deficit, they will hand the ball off. I believe that would be Riley, and he's going to get just a couple of yards there on first carry of this second half.
Well, the rushing attack for the Wildcats hasn't been very successful tonight because of that swarming, ball-hawking Cardinal defense. They've had much more success through the air, but you got to try to keep them honest a little bit. You can't let them just sit back and pin their ears back with their rush and get after the quarterback. You got to make those defensive linemen stay home occasionally. So you got to try to run the ball, and the Wildcats did that there. But like I said, Aaron Young's been throwing the ball pretty effectively tonight in kind of a light, breezy, sloppy conditions. He's been able to throw the ball pretty good.
So here we are in the third quarter of the Dane County Bowl. Again, Verona with a 5-2 record, looking to get win number 6, tossing the ball this time, and that one deflected by Marty Stry.
So Marty Stry is a returning all-state linebacker from last year. He just dropped into his drop zone there on the rollout and tracked down that pass and batted it down. That's been their most effective play so far, is that slight rollout to the right with kind of a deep comeback with the outside receiver. And obviously at halftime, Sun Prairie talked about that, had to make some adjustments and make sure somebody got in that flat to protect that pass.
So a 3rd and 8 for the Wildcats as Aaron Young, a nice shot there as he runs back on the field after talking with Coach Dave Richardson, getting the call for the 3rd down play. And you always want to start the half strong, especially when you build on the momentum of a touchdown drive to end that first half, and now getting the ball back. But a 3rd down here, sending a man in motion, looking that way. He'll go into the slant route, but his receiver Jaden King not quite where he wanted it. Instead, the closest guy on the play was the defender, Orlando Fenderson.
Well, that was a play they had success with in the first half, except to the left side, where the H-back or the slot back came in motion and ran into the flat. Then the outside receiver just did a quick slant, and Young connected with the slant route there. That time, whether it was the rush or he couldn't see it, he delivered the ball a little bit short, which forces a Wildcat punt.
And so here's Aaron Young on the punt. So a 3-and-out for the Wildcats. That's a good moral victory for Sun Prairie, and that ball bouncing backwards, so it didn't even reach midfield. So it'll be great starting field position for the Sun Prairie Cardinals. And man, after a frustrating drive defensively at the end of that first half, they're in great field position to set up here and take out that anger on Verona.
Well, it was interesting. Sun Prairie got the ball back with under a minute to go after the Wildcats scored that touchdown and had a couple of big chunk yardage plays with Draven Peoples and got the ball down to about the 35-yard line. And then he elected not to throw it into the end zone, just ran the ball.
Strange.
Peoples got tackled, and it was halftime.
So here's Jack Zander. You see him looking off to the right, and he'll give the ball off to Fenderson, his first carry of the evening. He's going to reverse direction, go the other way. Quarterback Zander throwing a block. Fenderson still going. He's down inside the 20-yard line, and he's going to get roped down around there. That's going to be a 15, 20-yard gain on the play.
Well, Fenderson looks
larger
like he
than
came up
that,
a
maybe.
little bit hobbled after all of that running. He's grabbing the back of his left hamstring. Hopefully he'll be okay because he's a two-way player for them. But that's just a simple jet sweep to the left to the short side of the field. Fenderson saw a wall of Wildcat defenders over there, decided to stop, reverse his field, get a couple of key blocks, including not necessarily one by Xander. There's one there, and was able to get down the sideline and down to the 20-yard line for the Cardinals.
And that was my mistake there, Mark. That was actually his second carry of the game. He had another similar play in the first quarter. He ran for 5 yards. So a total of 30 yards rushing on the day for Fenderson on 2 carries. So not a bad day on the ground. He actually doesn't even have a catch, but he does have the 2 rushes for Sun Prairie and making use of everybody on the field. And you put your aces in your places, as a former coworker of mine like to say.
Aces in your places.
That's right. Your specialists, and here we go. And Jack Xander will hand the ball off to Draven Peoples up the middle. He'll find a crease before hitting a wall of black jerseys inside the 20-yard line.
And that's just a bread and butter staple play for the Cardinals spread offense rushing attack there, where they bring Marty Stride, the H-back in motion, have him lead block into the hole, and let Peoples kind of do his thing, bouncing off of defenders, trying to get some yardage there.
So it looks like about a 3rd and 7 here for Sun Prairie, but inside the 20-yard line of Verona. So in scoring territory here, driving up the middle and getting inside the 10-yard line, or about the 10-yard line. Looks like that was going to be a first down.
Yep.
And so again, moving the ball.
1st and goal for the Cardinal offense. Again, they went back to their bread and butter there. This time they did not bring Stry in motion, but he just comes across the formation, kicks out the defensive end. The Cardinal linemen all kind of zone block to the left, and then Peoples finds the crease and explodes for 10 yards.
And there's Peoples under center. Will take the direct snap, and he'll run, spin the other direction, and pick up about 2 yards. So just keeping the defense honest and mixing it up.
Well, it's a little bit of a wrinkle. You know, Wildcat formation, direct snap. The one thing about that is Peoples a throwing threat? Probably,
I was going to say, I don't know if he's –
probably
what his
not.
throwing skills are like.
So the Wildcat defense, they're just going to pin their ears back. They're going to say when he gets the ball, he's not handing it off to anybody. Let's just go tackle number 3, and they did a pretty good job of it that time.
So Xander back in there now in the shotgun. He'll look to the right side, throw the fade to the corner of the end zone, and incomplete on the play.
Good play call by the Cardinals there, because the Wildcat offense just decided to run, the Wildcat defense decided to run blitz up the A-gap there, and they had fade routes on the outsides, and they just couldn't complete it down in the corner of the end zone.
So it ends up being 3rd and goal for Sun Prairie. You see Verona's coaching staff over there barking in commands and really trying to clamp down here, as Verona had a hard time finding their way into the end zone in the first half, and now in a situation where they could be in a big trouble. A little bit of that option play. Xander does hand the ball off to Draven Peoples, and he'll get inside the 5.
Let's see what the Cardinals are going to do here. Kaminsky is going to be the riverboat gambler here and go for it, or take the easy 3 points here.
Well, I don't know. I think if I'm Sun Prairie, I'd go for it, because aside from the penalties, Verona hasn't really proven they can drive the ball down the field consistently and pick up those big chunks of yardage. So I say go for it.
What do you think Peoples wants to do?
Well,
I think he wants to go for it. He's pounding on his chest. It looked like they were going to bring their field goal unit in, but after a while, after they pleaded to get the ball back, the offense is going to try to score.
So at about the 4-yard line, 4 yards away from pay dirt, but they'll call a timeout and talk this one over. I venture to guess they will maybe call out the field goal unit then on that one.
Yeah, with 4 yards to go here, chances are they're going to kick the field goal. If it was 2, maybe 3 yards, you like that your offensive line could get a push here and you could punch it into the end zone. But 4 yards, it's pretty risky down here. However, on the flip side of it, Eric, you got one of the state's best defense, if not the best. And if you go for it here and don't make it, Wildcats have to go 95-plus yards to score. I think I might say, hey, I'm going to put my defense in that position and feel like we can hold these guys.
That's my mindset as well. So we'll take a quick break here, and then we will have this 4th down play after this. 4th and goal from the 4-yard line for Sun Prairie. They will go for it. They'll hand it off to Draven Peoples up the middle. He will pound his way into the end zone, finding pay dirt, and a risky play for Coach Kaminsky pays off, and Sun Prairie finds the end zone.
Well, I tell you, Eric, I thought they were going to hold him in the backfield there. They had a couple of Wildcat defenders surrounding Draven Peoples. He just lowered his shoulder pads, ran through 2 tackles, and then plowed into the end zone to give the Cardinals a touchdown. Great run by Peoples on that drive there.
So Peoples now with 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground and 1 through the air. So 4-yard touchdown run on 4th down for Draven Peoples, in a risky play call. And man, sometimes you wonder at this level what you're going to do, but you know, a 4th-ranked team in the state, I mean, the confidence showing there.
Well, there was nothing special about that play either. There was no trickery, nobody pulling. It was just a straight dive play.
And we will take a break and have the kickoff after that extra point. The Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports. And so after the 4-yard touchdown run by Draven Peoples, Sun Prairie leads Verona 21-9, a 4th down play. And here's the replay there, Mark.
Well, again, we had just man-on-man blocking, nobody pulling, no lead blocker. They just said, our guys are going to go up and beat your guys. And then when you have Draven Peoples in the background who could break tackles himself, he was able to get into the end zone.
And it's a big place to be if you're Sun Prairie, you know, up 21-9, and Verona has, as we've mentioned, somewhat struggled to move the ball in a mechanical sort of way. So they're going to need to take advantage of either some turnovers or somehow get things clicking, because Sun Prairie's defense has shown, aside from that touchdown earlier, I mean, they're really clamping down and proving why they're one of the best defenses in the state.
Certainly, and that's a way that Sun Prairie wanted to come out at halftime. Got a defensive stop, and then their offense just drove it right down the field.
So there is the kickoff, another deep one into the end zone and out the back of the end zone. So Verona will take over their 20-yard line with a lot of room ahead of them and a lot of points to make up for now. It looks like maybe some of this heavy rain, as far as the blowing part of it, has let up a little bit, although a 21-9 deficit, I mean, it's doable, but for Verona, it's a tough task now.
Yeah, it's a slight drizzle out there, just a couple of drops still coming down, a little bit windy, but it's a warm rain. It's not that cold out there, so these guys are out there probably working up a sweat on top of the rain that they're getting. That ball's probably a little heavy, but we'll see if they come out throwing it again, which has been the Wildcats' best way to move the ball down the field.
So Draven Peoples for Sun Prairie, 25 yards rushing in this half and a touchdown. So he's up over 100 yards now, and now it's Verona's turn, and they go Joe Riley, who has his biggest gain of the day, about a 4-yard carry. Actually scratched that, his second biggest, but still a good start on this drive for Joe Riley.
You know, this Verona team and Sun Prairie team, these two programs, if you're a young coach in the area, you couldn't find 2 better programs to model your program after. These guys do it right. They do it year in and year out. They've been good football programs for not only the last few years, as they shared the conference championship last year, but these have been 2 good teams for 10, 20, even going back 30 years. And they do it right, starting from the youth level all the way up. Again, if you're a coach out there, hit your star to Dave Richardson or Brian Kaminsky, and you're going to go far with your program.
Aaron Young throws incomplete off to the right side. Yeah, I mean, definitely some, consistency in as far as, I've grown up in the Madison area, and, over the years that I've been here, it's always been, yes, Sun Prairie for sure, one of those teams, and Verona, especially over the last 10, 15 years, has been a contender to, always compete in the conference, and they're always a team that you want to watch out for. And I grew up going to Oregon, so I was always, our orange and black is better than your orange and black, and here it is, and the city is certainly growing for Verona, and a good host city here for sure. So 3rd and 6 for the Wildcats. They'll run it, but they don't go anywhere.
Running into a brick wall of a Cardinal defense, that's for sure. And again, they're probably just wanting to take advantage of advantage of the wet weather and keep the ball on the ground as opposed to throwing it. But again, throwing it's been the only way they've been able to move the ball. They haven't been able to rush the ball all night on the Cardinal defense. They're going to have to take some chances if they're going to get back in this game for sure.
Well, and that's been kind of like that two-edged sword. It's, Sun Prairie knows that that's the case right now, and so that's making it tougher for Verona to even pass the ball because of the coverage there. And now, you go 3 and out after going down 21-9, and a nice return for Fenderson, and he continues to go leaping. A defender stays on his feet and takes it to about the 20-yard line. Fenderson setting Sun Prairie up in great field position on a heck of a return. Nice blocking on that play as well.
Orlando Fenderson, again, senior receiver, defensive back, return guy, 6'2", 200 pounds, all athlete, as you can see there. And these Cardinals just have one athlete after another. Again, we mentioned the 3 scholarship players on defense that they have. And then on offense, you got a great quarterback in Xander. You got Draven Peoples, who's a really good tailback. And you got a kid like Fenderson who can return kicks and run jet sweeps for you all day long. What a hard team to stop on both sides of the ball.
Well, it won't count for his rushing statistics, but a nice return by Fenderson, and the offense says thank you very much, as now you have 4 receiver-type players in the left side of the field, and tackled in the flat was Brian McKenzie. So not fooled on the play. Verona's defense saying, not so fast.
Ruben Zavala, linebacker, covering the slot receiver there, did a great job reading that play out and reacting as soon as he saw the bubble coming to his side, avoiding the blocker and going and making a great tackle. Good job for the Wildcat defense.
Now, I'm not sure if that went for negative yardage, but certainly not much, if anything, on that pass. So they'll call that 2nd and 12 as they hand it off to McKenzie now. So he tried receiving, didn't work. He tried running it off to the right side, and that one didn't work really as well. So, there's now Verona showing some life defensively, and a big 3rd down coming up.
Certainly, and you're wondering if this is 4-down territory for the Cardinal offense, even though they got a really good field goal kicker in senior Alex Oakley, who kicked a 50-plus yard field goal earlier this season. He certainly has the leg to make it from out here, but in these types of conditions, that might make it more difficult.
So a 3rd and 11, they call it officially, and that's going to make this even longer. So we get a false start there.
Well, it's going to be 3rd and 16 now as the slot back out on the split over there.
Colin Schaefer.
False start there. Going to back up Sun Prairie. And even though they're 7-0, they're undefeated. It's not that there's any kinks in the armor here, so to speak, but the penalty flags have been quite prevalent on both sides of the ball for the Cardinals. They certainly want to clean that up if they're going to make a deep playoff run this year.
Well, I don't know what kind of leg their kicker has, but now you take it clearly out of any sort of field goal range, especially in these conditions with the penalty. So depending on what happens on this 3rd down, and they give it to Peoples, he'll pick up a chunk of yardage there, about 3-4 yards, and he'll still make it a 4th and long. So
yeah, it's going to be about 4th and 10 or 11 here. We're talking about a 41-yard field goal attempt. Again, with this weather conditions, can you get the operation down of your snap, your hold, and your kick? They're going to give it a try. As I mentioned, Alex Oakley is a 3-year letter winner here as a kicker and punter and kickoff specialist. Earlier this year, he made a 50-plus yarder. He's certainly got the leg for this, but with these conditions, they can always be tricky.
Well, Alex Oakley will line it up, the first-team all-conference kicker a season ago. Nearly blocked, and this is short, it looks like. And no, he does get it over the crossbar. A 40-plus yard field goal. Alex Oakley, just enough leg to put Sun Prairie over Verona, 24-9. What a kick by Alex Oakley.
Well, one of the things at the high school level that you get that you do not at college and the NFL is the block you can use. You can use a 1-inch block, and I'm sure that 1-inch block helped to get it maybe an inch or two over the crossbar.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we'll head it down to the sideline now, and we'll hear a little bit on that report after the made field goal.
We're taking a break from the game with the Dales Heating Air sideline report, and with me now I have Galen. He's the president of the Verona FFA Club. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So you guys are running the concession stand tonight. Obviously, all of those proceeds go back to you guys. How does that benefit FFA?
So what we do with the proceeds is all of it goes back to the community in some form or another. So later in the year, we're going to have a toy drive where we buy toys with our money and have donations that will go back to the community. We have clothing drives, and we also have other events that will directly benefit the community and grow leaders in our chapter.
That's super cool and so exciting. And obviously, recently, it's been the World Dairy Expo. That's a really big deal around here and around the world for that matter. Have you guys got involved?
Yeah, so we sent different FFA members to compete in various projects around at the expo, and we also have volunteering going on later in the week at this Saturday at the GEA ice cream scooping booth. So
awesome. Sounds like you guys have been staying busy. Galen, thanks for being with us.
yeah, thank you.
And we'll head back to the game.
All right. Well, thanks, Ellen. And we have the game back underway as the kickoff from Oakley. And after the long field goal attempt, Verona will be taking over about their own 20-yard line. So not amazing field position, but they have their work cut out for them here in the third quarter after a long field goal by Sun Prairie.
Well, Ellen was talking to the young gentleman from Verona who's with the FFA, and they're at World Dairy Expo, which is the largest dairy expo in the world here in Madison this week. A little shout out to my wife, Carla Martinez, who's a former FFA president back in the day at Stoughton High School. And I'll weave that into our story as another game you mentioned tonight. Stoughton versus Monona Grove, two other 7-0 teams battling it out for the Badgers South Conference Championship.
Yeah, well aware of what happens with FFA and the World Dairy Expo. Worked with Midwest Family Broadcasting for a number of years, and Farm Babe Pam Yankee is going out there. So it's always good to give a little shout out for our Wisconsin people. And as now Aaron Young will run it off to the near sideline and trying to pick up the first down, and so he was not able to find any options receiving. And see, I think they moved the chain there. No, they're going to call it about a 2nd and 2. So an 8-yard rush for Aaron Young.
Well, they went with the waggle there instead of a boot. What a waggle does is it rolls the quarterback out to one side or the other, and it brings an offensive line with him. Usually you have a fullback in the flat and a receiver over the top. Nobody was open, so Young just tucked it down and got some yards on his own.
So after the first down run by Young, it's 2nd and 2, and again, that sort of interesting look from the wing T formation. So rolling out to his right side, finding a similar play as we've seen before, and he'll hit his receiver for a first down, and that would be Jaden King once again. So Jaden King now, I'm trying to find his numbers here as far as how many catches he has. That's his 4th of the game.
That's been that staple play for the Wildcat offense. Again, rolling right, Young delivers a strike to his outside receiver, just running a comeback route at about 10 to 12 yards. And that's been there all night for them. I'm sure they're going to continue to come back to that unless the Cardinal defense makes some sort of an adjustment to undercut that route.
And so now, once again, a first down for Verona. They're moving the football and getting a first down, but Joe Riley loses the football. There's the conditions getting to it, and Sun Prairie says they have it.
Well, it's still into the third quarter here, Eric. And you don't want to say the game's over, but if Sun Prairie can turn this into a touchdown, that might be the nail in the coffin on this one, as that Wildcat offense just hasn't gotten on track rushing the ball. And that time they tried to run it up the gut and got it punched out of there, and the Cardinals take over.
Well, not a great day on the ground, a tough sledding for Joe Riley, who had just 10 yards in that first half, and he got up to about 10 yards in the second half on that run. Unfortunately, he lost control of the football, and now Sun Prairie really smelling blood in the water. We'll hand it off to McKenzie.
And it's a nice 1-2 punch they have out of the backfield, Eric, with McKenzie and then Draven Peoples. You just continue, 2 fresh set of legs back there just pounding you. And then you got to give credit, obviously, to the Sun Prairie offensive line who's opening holes, in particular Marty Stry, who's leading them. But some of those other big uglies up front, Anthony Villanueva, Dominic Cooper, Ben Johnson, Kyle Connell, all those guys for the Cardinals opening holes for the rushing attack.
So McKenzie will get the handoff again. Looks like that one should be enough to move the chains, and he does end up moving the chains. So, yeah, I mean, you get that combo between Peoples and McKenzie, but obviously Peoples getting the most of the majority of the carries here for the Cardinals. But you know, you're up to 15 yards rushing in the second half for McKenzie, and you keep mixing it up, and there you go again. Now I think this is Peoples on the carry. And so he'll get a couple yards on that one. And just keep churning the legs, keep things moving, and keep that clock moving as, you know, we've already seen they're in field goal position now, so as long as you don't end up losing the ball yourself, this would end up being, you would think, a promising series for Sun Prairie, although you definitely like to pour it on when you can. Finding the end zone always feels good. So they'll fake the handoff to Peoples this time, and Xander will take it himself and upended for about a 3-yard carry.
Well, obviously the Wildcat defense is focusing on the tailback, whether it's McKenzie or Peoples, and in particular, when Peoples is in the backfield, he's going to be their number one threat. So what the Cardinals are thinking is maybe every once in a while have Xander slip the ball out of there. But like you said earlier, he's 6'5", 215 pounds, not blazing speed. So I'd rather give the ball to Peoples.
A lot of movement going on in there in the Verona defense, but shoving off a defender, and Peoples always continues to fight for those extra yards. And when he falls down, he's falling down forward, and that's been the difference in their running game, and a nice pickup, and that would be enough for a first down.
You know what Peoples reminds me of, and this goes back into the day, he reminds me a little bit of Brent Moss for the Badgers, who was the Rose Bowl MVP in that 93 season, where he never went down on first contact, and he always ran with a low center of gravity, kept his legs churning. It looked like you were going to stop him, and the next thing you know, the pile's moving for 4 or 5 more yards after the first point of contact.
Well, and you're looking at both these running backs, and you know, whether it's Draven Peoples or Brian McKenzie, both listed at 5'9" or about 200 pounds. So they're similarly built guys, and so it's paid dividends for them, and it's definitely. We'll head to the fourth quarter now. So the third quarter is over. It's 24-9 Sun Prairie over Verona. We'll have that final quarter for you. See if Verona can make a comeback. You're watching the Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports. Welcome back to the Dane County Bowl on Wisconsin's 57 Sports. Eric Rogers alongside Mark Martinez here in the broadcast booth as Verona in a hole here. It's 24-9 Sun Prairie, and Sun Prairie threatening here, and they've definitely shown they can make field goals from this distance. So regardless of what happens, you would think they have an opportunity for points. As Draven Peoples meets a host of Verona defenders after a 1 or 2 yard carry.
Well, I tell you, there's been multiple times where the Wildcat defense has hit Peoples in the backfield, yet they have him drag guys or break tackles and get positive yards out of seemingly nothing. So it tells you a lot about the power of Peoples and his leg drive that he has. He's an impressive young man to watch, that's for sure.
Well, we've mentioned it multiple times. As we get a dump-off pass and nearing the end zone, diving for the pylon. Does he find the end zone? He does, and Sun Prairie will find the end zone for another touchdown. Jari Wia, the 6-foot running back and defensive back on the reception. He finds the end zone, and it's another touchdown for Sun Prairie.
Well, that was just a Wia coming in motion, and it's essentially running a bubble. Again, it's a long, elongated handoff, almost like the very first touchdown that the Cardinals scored in the first quarter, with Peoples getting the bubble out of the backfield and just making the defense cover sideline to sideline and get your speed on the edge, get to the corner, and find the end zone.
So Wia with his first reception of the game, and it ends up going for about 15 yards and a touchdown.
And that's certainly a backbreaker for the Wildcats. 31-9, start of the fourth quarter. Verona's a talented football team, but this is a big hole to try to dig yourself out of here against state's top-ranked defense and one of the top 5 teams in the entire state of Wisconsin.
Well, it's going to take a heck of a momentum and big comeback, and we'll see if Verona can do it. We'll take a break. You're watching the Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports. So Jari Wia catches about a 15-yard pass from his quarterback, Zach Jack Zander, rather, and that's Sun Prairie getting on the scoreboard for a 31-9 lead right now, and they will kick this ball off. We're just starting the fourth quarter of the Dane County Bowl, but a lot of work to do if you're Verona. The Wildcats had a touchdown drive at the end the first half, but they came out the second half with a 3-and-out, and then a fumble on the ensuing drive, and Sun Prairie capitalizing just now. And so finally a returnable kick for Verona, and they'll take it about past the 20-yard line, near the 25 is where he'll fall on it, and that is Boyd Clements. He's a defensive back, but he was a second-team all-conference DB last year, and he's on the senior semifinalist list this year for DBs, the Jim Leonard list.
Well, unfortunately, the Wildcats are going to be made a one-dimensional team here. They're down by 22 points here. They're going to have to throw the ball, which plays into this Cardinal defense here, which has the state's leading interceptor in number 47, Caden Kauppinen.
So here comes Aaron Young, and as you mentioned, a passing offense you have to think now in the fourth quarter. Still plenty of time, but things are going to have to go pretty perfect from here on out. And he gets leveled as he gets the ball out, and that was Jaden King with another reception, and that's going to be close for a first down, but, man, he can't be taking hits like that the rest of the game, and it takes a lot for Aaron Young. He gets up, so you give him credit for that.
Well, the Wildcats have been going away from Kauppinen for most of the game. Kaupinen's been playing on the right side of the Cardinal defense, and the Wildcats have been thrown to the left side. But because they've had some success over on this side, Kauppinen came on this side to cover number 2 here on that play, but Kauppinen slipped, and that's why he was able to catch the ball.
So more receivers on the play, and there you get Joe Riley getting into the backfield next to Aaron Young. So he ends up sweeping the other direction and taken down immediately. So the running back on that one, Hakon Anderson.
Marty Stry on the tackle there. You're not going to fool the all-state linebacker on that type of play. As soon as he sees that back coming in motion, he knows most of the time it's going to be handed off to him like a sweep play. So he just goes in there unblocked and tackles him for a short, I wouldn't even say a short game, but right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. So we will take a break from the game action and head to the sideline and see what we have down on the sideline.
And here we are back with another Dale's Heating and Air sideline report, and I'm happy to be here with Dean. Dean is the superintendent for Verona High School. Dean, thanks for talking with me tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we're having fun out here at the football field. Little wet, little rainy, but not so cold. We were just talking about that, right?
That's right. Not so cold, but we're kind of on the short end of this stick here tonight.
That's right. That's right. So, superintendent of Verona High School. What does that mean? How did you get involved? How long have you been doing this, Dean?
Yeah, actually, I'm the superintendent for the whole district, so the K through 12.
My apologies.
Yeah, that's no problem. So this is my 13th year as superintendent here in Verona, and it's been a great 13 years.
Did you go to Verona?
I did not. I'm originally from Iowa. The hat there. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So many details. I surprised you with that one. Sorry.
That's okay.
There's a lot to love here in Verona, though. We're so happy to be out here tonight for the Dane County Bowl. Tell me a little bit about what you see for the school year so far. Have things been going well?
Yeah, we're off to a great start. We've got a record number of kids. We're at our highest enrollment ever. We're really excited. We're embarking in a new high school project.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, in 2020 it'll be open, so you'll be in a different venue altogether.
That is so exciting for the district and for Verona as a city. And this community is very tight-knit. Quickly, we only have a couple seconds. Tell me about some events coming up that you're proud of.
Well, we've got our high school musical, Pippin, coming up next week, and we've got our girls' state golf team is going Monday and Tuesday to state golf.
Wow, way to go to the girls' golf team. Well, Dean, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you, and that was a Dale's Heating and Air sideline report. Back to you guys.
Well, thanks, Emily. And yeah, we get back to the game action, but as we've seen a lot in the first half, more penalty flags on the field and a 5-yard penalty marked off.
Yeah, surprising. As I talked about earlier, these are two of the best programs in South Central Wisconsin. And both of these programs have been very competitive in the Big 8. As a matter of fact, Verona came over to the Big 8 from the Badger Conference. Everybody thought they might struggle a little bit. They've been nothing but fantastic in the top 3 year in and year out.
So a high snap, Aaron Young brings it in, and he tosses it towards the middle of the field, but it goes incomplete. And so I'll bring up third down. Yeah, I remember when they were in the Badger Conference because a little background on myself. I mean, I was cross-country track and field. I definitely remember the days when they were the Badger South, but then just an explosion of, business in Verona, and you're seeing a lot of, buildings go up no matter which side of town you're on, and construction down on Main Street. And it's definitely, everything kind of working for Verona as far as, athletically and having the success in the Big 8, although, this game not necessarily a reflection of that so far. So it's 3rd and 14 as Aaron Young to the huge task here ahead of him. So again, an adjustment. He'll look right. He'll throw right. He'll find his man, Jaden King, once again, but it's going to be
King has certainly been his number one target, and he has to feel pretty confident about himself, King that is, because he's got Kaufman, the college scholarship recipient, guarding him, and he's still able to get out there and run for a couple of receptions on him. But again, it's going to bring up a 4th down at the 40-yard line. You would anticipate that Verona's probably going to punt here.
Well, 6 catches for King on the evening so far, doing a little bit better in the second half, but still nothing to write home about as far as touchdowns are concerned and the scoreboard, but a 31-9 deficit. And yes, 4th down, and not taking your advice here, Mark, they are going to go for it. And rolling left, throwing that way, and he finds his receiver. It is a catch. He finds Jordan Hutchcroft, although
penalty flag on the play.
Yep, there's a flag right in the middle.
It was a little bit of a risky play call there to go for it on 4th down instead of punting it. But again, you're down 31-9. You want to give your team some confidence. And with as many penalties that have been on this field tonight, hey, if you don't make the 1st down, maybe there'll be a penalty in your favor once again to keep the drive going.
I mean, that's the way to think about it. Though we'll get the official word on the penalty, but yeah, maybe part of that is also, if we don't, if we punt it, we haven't really shown, too many instances where we're stopping Sun Prairie from scoring here. So, you might as well, you have the ball right now, so take the chances while you have it, although depends who this penalty's on, whether that ends up being.
It had to be on the Cardinals because it was so far into the defensive backfield. And it looks like there was a couple of penalties on here.
So as we wait the official word, it looks like we're at about a 4th and 4, although they are putting the 1st down marker out. So once they discuss the outcome of that, just going to give a shout out to our food sponsors today, Sugar River Pizza. Sarah and Ross Thomas, we want to thank them. This best pizza ever, and we're going to call it. And Monks of Verona and Sun Prairie as our restaurant partners, serving up a good time since 1947. They definitely brought a whole lot of food here tonight, and I don't know if I need to eat ever again, Mark.
Definitely. I'm still full from eating a couple of hours ago.
And so
there sure has been a lot of referee conversations amongst themselves and with each head coaches here on some of these calls tonight.
Well, it's communication's a lost art in this world, and they're just kind of getting it out of their systems here. And now the balls, oh, man, that's just almost the worst-case scenario if you're Verona. You had your opportunity, you had your play drawn up for what you were going to do on this 4th and 4, and although it looks like they were calling that 1st down. So
yeah, that was a 1st down based off of a defensive pass interference on the Cardinals there. So it's going to be 2nd and about 16 or so due to what we call a worm burner. The ball barely covered the tops of the grass
I like
there.
that.
And Aaron Young just did the smart thing and fell on the ball.
And so while we have a second, we'll send it down to the sideline and see what kind of updates we have from our ladies down there.
We're taking another break from the Dane County Bowl for a Dale's Heating and Air sideline report. And with me now, I have Mark Kricka. He's the Verona Athletic Director. Thank you so much for being with us tonight and having us out here.
Well, thanks for coming out. It's not the best night for weather, but we're playing the game, and that's what we didn't think would happen earlier today.
Football has been played in worse, that's for sure. At least it's not freezing cold, right?
Yeah, it's at least it's warm. There's no thunder and lightning. The rain held off pretty much, so yeah, we were lucky.
We're rolling with it. And now, as far as other sports that are in season right now are going, can you give us just a little bit of an overview of those sports?
Sure. We hosted the sectional golf meet this week, so our girls golf team tied for the sectional championship, lost the tiebreaker, but they are going to state. We have one tennis player going to state next week. Our girls swim team is near the top of the conference, top 5 in the state right now, and boys soccer team is having a great year. Football team is qualified for the state playoffs, so they didn't show it tonight, at least not yet, but we've got 10 minutes left to do that.
And this was also homecoming week, so I'm sure this was a big week at school as well.
Yeah, it's been a pretty busy, hectic week and a lot going on, and you know, it's fun for the kids. Sometimes they go a little bit above and beyond what they should, but they're having fun and we're having fun with them.
Having fun. It sounds like it's a good time to be a Wildcat.
This was a good week for us all the way around for athletics and for homecoming.
Thank you so much for having us tonight, and we'll head back to the game.
All right, well, thanks, Ellen. And, man, it has been a rough night for Verona as far as this game is concerned. And you thought things were maybe going in your direction as you converted on a 4th down, but Aaron Young goes to pass the ball, and it slips out of his hand for the 2nd time tonight, and he loses the ball. Sun Prairie recovers, and wouldn't you know it, great field position once again.
Marty Stride, linebacker for the Cardinals, Johnny on the spot after Young dropped that ball again, much like he did in the 2nd quarter. But this time the Cardinals just wisely fell on the ball to give it back to their offense.
So a 2nd and 7 for the Cardinals, and they'll just pound it up the gut once again as we're getting near the halfway mark of this ball game, or of this quarter rather, as things seem to be going Sun Prairie's way, and we will have a trophy presentation after the game. We'll have the game winner of the Dane County Bowl trophy presentation. We're also going to have the offensive and defensive MVPs. So if you're watching this broadcast, we have the Saturday at 3, we have the Sunday at noon, and the Tuesday at 7 p.m. So if you missed any or all or part of this broadcast, you can always catch the rest of it on the other broadcast times that I mentioned, and it'll be online as well. So go and look for YouTube on that, and you can always come back and watch this one. And Verona, maybe they'll be using the film as a learning experience, because this is not gone according to plan for the Wildcats.
Certainly, we're going to see a steady dose of the Cardinal rushing attack in the remainder of this 4th quarter, up 31-9. They're just going to be handing the ball off and pounding it, try to run the clock, and see if they can get Peoples or one of the other backs to get some first downs for them.
Well, I guess throw that idea out the window, because they're still passing in the 4th quarter.
Of course, as soon as I say that, they go to the air attack and make me look like the fool that I am.
Well, ends up being incomplete, and I believe that was a 4th down play. And so instead of just running the ball on 4th down, they decide, let's go for the kill, and it goes incomplete. But, now Verona does get the ball back, so not necessarily any damage done aside from the time taken off the clock. But Sun Prairie got to feel good about themselves, but Verona, just got to prove they're better than the score shows right now.
Well, on that 4th down play, I'm sure they're thinking, hey, the Wildcats are going to sell out to stop the run. We're going to just hand it off to Peoples. Let's use him as a decoy, fake the ball to him. Xander probably had an underneath route that he should have gone to, but just decided to give his outside receiver a chance.
So disrespectful, so rude, that play. No, I see the mindset there, and that's coming from a guy who's played football before. So Verona will be content to just run the ball up the middle now and at least not be totally one-dimensional. Doesn't really go anywhere.
Well, with the formations and the offense that the Wildcats have, they don't have a lot of hurry-up in their arsenal. You see a lot of their formation shifts while prior to the play, their pre-snap shifts. So they're not going to be going up and down the field throwing the ball. They're going to have to get some big chunk yardage here, though.
So Verona will try to come out passing, but a whistle before the play is offsides.
And that looked like the Wildcats were trying to set up maybe a double pass there, a lateral with another receiver getting downfield. I don't know if they kind of gave it away there because the penalty stopped the play. But if they got some tricks, if Richardson has some trick plays in his bag, he'll probably break them out here in these last couple of minutes.
Well, there are 6 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock for this ball game, but kind of all academic at this point, like you mentioned, so maybe time to try some new things as you look towards the final week of the season and then the postseason. But rolling to his right side, ball deflected at the line and in and out of the hands of the linebacker, as you would think another interception coming, but Ethan Ackley unable to reel that one in just in and out of his reach. He's a tight end, so he knows how to catch.
Well, we've seen a really good Cardinal defense here tonight, one of the best in the state. The Wildcats had some success in the first half and had to be feeling pretty good about themselves when it was 14-9 at halftime. But the second half, the Cardinals came out, got a stop right away on defense, marched it in for a score on offense, and then it's been off to the races ever since.
And we have to hand out an offensive and defensive MVP, and Sun Prairie is going to get those awards, but I don't know who on defense to give that to. Ball popped up in the air and incomplete as Aaron Young was looking for Kyle Walton.
Well, if we take a look at what's ahead for these two teams, Sun Prairie is going to go to 8-0. That's both in conference and overall, because in the Big 8 there are no non-conference games. Verona is going to fall to 5-3, still be in the upper half of the Big 8. But next week, Sun Prairie's got Madison LaFollette at home, and Verona's got Janesville Craig right here. So both teams have a good chance to end their season, at least the regular season, with a victory.
Well, Verona, if they end up losing that one, they would end up going into the postseason with 3 straight losses. That's not the way they want to go. So Verona, they're going to want to, close out, this game with a positive note, and next week trying to get a win to at least, go into the postseason with some positive momentum as we get a flag before the play.
Well, we talked a little bit about each of these programs. There's a number of great programs in South Central Wisconsin, including Waunakee and Middleton, which are always at the top of each of their respective conferences. But the way these two programs, and I'll couple Waunakee and Middleton into that, how they've grown their programs and been so successful year after year and decade after decade, is it starts in the youth program. Each of these coaches has control over their youth programs. They have their coaches at the grade school level teaching their offense and defense, so that when those kids matriculate from grade school ball to middle school ball to high school, they know the Wildcat offense, the Wildcat defense. And so just those kids get learned in that environment, and by the time they get to high school, these guys are well-oiled machines.
Well, and that takes, a well-oiled machine as just an organizational standpoint as, get your offense and defense. I know, what a catch. So Jaden King, you think maybe this game was over, and Aaron Young hooks up with a deep ball to Jaden King. I don't know how many yards you want to say that one is. That was a heck of a play.
Well, he just ran an out-and-up route there. Again, he's going up against Caden Kalpanen. Again, scholarship recipient from North Dakota there. Kalpanen just stopped his feet for a split second, which allowed King to get behind him, and then made a great catch on the back end of that.
So that was about a 40-yard reception. Maybe not quite that much, but it's a big pass play, and keeps things alive for Jaden King, and that time it goes incomplete as we were trying to get the ball to Jordan Hutchcroft.
Well, that went right through the receiver's hands, and again, you can see what an accurate quarterback that Young is. He's been impressive, as has Xander when he's thrown the ball a few times. But again, this Cardinal defense has been pretty tough this whole game, and while Young's been able to complete some passes, the Cardinals have been able to keep most of the guys in front of them throughout this whole game.
So 4:24 is what's left on the clock. As we mentioned multiple times, the actual game clock, the actual scoreboard itself was struck by lightning the night before this game, so it wasn't fixed in time for us to do the broadcast, so we're kind of doing our best to have an estimate of that, but 4:24 is the official word, at least, on the remainder of this game, so a timeout here as we get towards the end of the game and look ahead towards next week and what we have coming up. So we will have the Cheese Bowl to finish it up, but we'll talk about that later. We will take a break during this timeout. We'll be back with the conclusion of the Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports. 4:24 remaining in the Dane County Bowl. Sun Prairie has a stronghold on this game, 31-9 over Verona, ruining their homecoming game. But, still, it's one more game left in the season for Verona. They're driving down the field, so at least trying to show that they have some positivity to take out of this thing when they break down film over the weekend and to say, hey, these are the things we want to work on next week when we close out the regular season. These are what we're looking for and when we enter the postseason play, because they are bowl eligible. They're going to be in. So a lot to look forward to if you're Verona still, despite the outcome of this game, is going to be looking, Aaron Young looking deep into the end zone and is going to overthrow his receiver. He had eyes on him the entire way.
Well, looking around the Big 8 as well, this is going to secure at least a share of the Big 8 Conference championship for the Sun Prairie Cardinals. Middleton's the only other one that could share that title with them. Now, Middleton's playing Beloit Memorial tonight. They have Madison East next week. 2 teams at the bottom half of the Big 8 Conference. You would assume that Middleton's going to win those. So the Sun Prairie can take care of business next week against Madison La Follette. Due to beating Middleton earlier in the year, they'll be the sole Big 8 champs this season.
And Sun Prairie and Verona actually shared that crown last year, as you heard from coaches before the game. So we do have a penalty flag, a hold against Verona. So they'll march the yardage off and try this again as, kind of bad going to worse for the Wildcats in this one. But they're looking ahead to next week. They're looking ahead to the postseason. As we mentioned, the Cheese Bowl between Madison Edgewood and Milton will be where we finish off our A1 Furniture and Mattress High School Football Bowl Series. Aaron Young about to get hit, and he throws a laser, and defender gets there just in time, and the official got hit in the elbow as he's now kind of injured on the play. So we'll see I hope he's okay. He is kneeling down. That's not a good sign. We'll see what happened with him. I don't know if he got a helmet to the elbow. Got involved in the middle of the play, and no, I don't know if he even got.
Looked like the ball bounced off his elbow there.
So hit the
like
funny bone maybe or something. He's still shaking it off.
Well, Eric, looking ahead into the playoffs here, we know both of these teams are going to be into the playoffs. Unfortunately, because there are 10 teams in southern Wisconsin in the Big 8 Conference, the first round of the playoffs, the Big 8 usually has to play each other, and oftentimes they play each other again in the second round. So it's not until that third level of the playoffs where they get to play some fresh teams down here, and then it's usually somebody from the Milwaukee area. So hopefully both of these teams could make a deep playoff run.
Well, and that's where your film study throughout the year and your coaching staffs really pay off, because you're looking at now a lot of concise things that you're trying to pick apart that you saw throughout the year as the ball is complete, and Verona trying to move the ball, and they are now. I think he found Jaden King again, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I'll tell you, one positive for this Verona team tonight is absolutely Jaden King, who's been able to make a number of catches tonight against a good Sun Prairie Cardinal defensive backfield on either side of the ball there. That kid's been catching a lot of balls, caught a nice post route there, and almost broke it for a touchdown.
He kind of reminds me of Mohamed Sanu if you're looking at the NFL, at least like body type-wise, and there he is, another catch.
And he's going up against Caden Kalpinen again. I'm sure Sun Prairie defense is playing a little softer, playing with the lead like this, but still, King's been able to make receptions all night long. He's having a heck of a game, albeit in a losing effort. But that's a bright spot that they'll be looking at in film study, that's for sure.
That catch there was his 9th of the game, and it does result in another first down. So the score at this one might not look as bad as it does right now, just when you look back at the box score and showing that Verona looks like they would probably get some points out of this possession here. Although getting chased down, Aaron Young, he does get the ball out of there. He finds his running back to dump it off to, so not much on the carry or on the reception, but Anderson has picked up a handful.
So obviously both of these teams are in Division I in WIAA football here. One of the teams ahead of Sun Prairie in the standings that the Cardinals are looking up to is Kimberly, the #1 team in the state, and they have the nation's longest winning streak. I forget the exact number, but I think it's at 70 plus now. And boy, I'm sure the Cardinals would be like licking their chops to get a chance to break that winning streak by the Kimberly Papermakers.
Well, a non-threatening name necessarily, but still a heck of one of the best teams there. And Aaron Young trying to find his receiver again, Jaden King, who fell down on the route, but then I believe a hold on that one as Aaron Young was running around in the pocket. So that'll back things up, so could make this one interesting if you're looking at Verona trying to come away with points here.
Well, certainly, and it looked like Aaron Young went rolling to his left. We're going to get a blocking below the waist. And again, at the high school level, you cannot block below the waist once you're outside the tackle box. It has to be immediate that you block, usually on the thigh board when the linemen are doing what they call cut blocking. You got to do it immediately after the snap within the tackle box. If your quarterback rolls left and a defender is coming and you cut him, well, it's a penalty that they're getting marked off.
You sure you don't want to be an official, Mark? I mean,
I'm
sounds
sure
like you
don't.
know the rules for the
Number one, I don't
more
look
than most
good
of
in
these.
stripes. And number two, I don't like people yelling at me all night long.
Well, we try not to do that to you, but hey, the stripes, make you seem taller. It's slimming, right?
I'll take that.
Not that you need the added height mark, but yeah, the penalty does go against Verona on the block. So as this game kind of winds down here and Verona moving backwards, the 2nd and 27. So 2:38 is what they say is left on the clock. And throwing as he's falling backwards is Aaron Young, that one falling incomplete. And things kind of, less organized now as far as the play calling is concerned.
Well, they're trying to roll him out to give him a chance to throw the ball. He throws really well on the run, and he's got a big arm there. But when you got guys in your face, especially when you're rolling left, you can't get your shoulders back around and put much on that, so your accuracy is going to be off. Made it difficult for him to complete that ball there.
Well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is great throwing on the run too, but they don't always design every play to do that. So it's kind of, especially rolling out to your left as a right-handed quarterback, and how many times we've talked about that is, you have to, like you mentioned, square up the shoulders, set the feet. It's more of a process to do it that way, but that's the way they drew it up. And now a 3rd and long, 3rd and forever for Verona, and you got to think they're probably out of field goal range now. So what looked like a drive, they were going to result in points, and now they're just trying to do anything they can. Nice job by the running back to pick up the blocker, and that ball thrown just over the head of his intended receiver, and that's going to fall incomplete and bring up a long 4th down.
Well, good pass coverage. We called his name quite a bit tonight on the long punt return. Orlando Fenderson, defensive back, on that play, right on top of the receiver there, preventing that completion. Now we got 4th and 26. Again, I'm sure they're just going to throw it up. It's going to be just as good of a punt if it gets intercepted, but give them a shot to get the ball for a 1st down or throw it in the end zone, see if they can get some points on the board.
So, yeah, around 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes left in this contest, and we will have the trophy presentation here momentarily, so don't turn off the TVs just yet, because you're going to see what Coach Kaminsky has to say after this win. You're going to hear from the offensive and the defensive MVP from Sun Prairie, and if you are seeing the broadcast, didn't catch the entire thing, we will also re-air the broadcast Sunday at noon, Tuesday at 7, and of course 57 Sports Online on YouTube. So we will take a break. We will see after this timeout how this game concludes. You're watching the Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports. So here for the final play on 4th down of this possession. It's intercepted by Sun Prairie. There was a flag on the play, but that's probably against Verona, so Sun Prairie will end up logging another interception to make this one look even more one-sided on the scoreboard, or in the at least on the, when you look at the box score of this one, the interception, and then play deep in their own territory.
Eric, surprising with how many penalties we've seen. Again, I talked a lot, complimented both of these coaches on the great programs that they have, and they do have great programs. I'm just concerned a little bit about all the flags that we've had down here. And again, they're competing hard. They're giving a lot of effort both sides of the ball. But I'm sure both coaches want to clean up those penalties, and that'll be something that they can circle as places of improvement for both teams.
And so Sun Prairie will take over at about the, was that the 30-yard line or 40-yard line? Yeah, 41-yard line. So 2:10 left in this contest, and Sun Prairie looking to pour it on here. They're going to run off to the near side. Draven Peoples once again picking up a big chunk of yardage, and it's going to be about 18 more yards total onto that. So just when you think maybe Sun Prairie is going to give him a break, he's been carrying a heck of a load. He has over 20 carries in this ball game, and about I would say about 140 yards, along with the receiving touchdown he had.
Well, if they can keep Peoples healthy, obviously he's a very effective back, very talented. You can see that play was designed to go inside. He decided to bounce it outside, and he's got power and speed. He can go inside and outside, and obviously he's a leading rushing touchdown runner for the Cardinals for a reason.
So I actually forgot a couple carries, so he's actually up above 150 yards. Plus the receiving, he has a receiving touchdown.
And that receiving touchdown, like you had mentioned, Eric, was just a long handoff, essentially. It was just a quick swing route to him to get him the ball on the edge there and outrun the defense after he broke a tackle. It was an exciting 40-yard touchdown reception for him back in the first quarter.
So minute left in this ball game. So we will give you our offensive and defensive MVPs here momentarily. So stick around for the trophy presentation and the plaque presentation for that, as Sun Prairie looks like they are going to win the Sun Prairie versus Verona Dane County Bowl.
Back number 49, Colin Fluno, in getting his first carry of the game. He's got 3 touchdowns on the season. He's more of a possession-type fullback for you, averages about 4 yards a carry. He's got about 145 yards on the season so far, and he comes in and gets some carries once these other guys kind of loosen up the defense.
So as the clock ticks down and 3rd down and 4 for Sun Prairie, you think they're looking towards next week, but you know, get a couple plays here, maybe. And it looks like this game is actually over, and your final score is going to be Sun Prairie 31, Verona 9, ruining Verona's homecoming. Sun Prairie remains undefeated at 8-0. Mark, what do you take away from this game real quick?
Well, I'll tell you what, Verona was very competitive in that first half. It looked like we were going to have a great ball game that went into halftime 14-9. Dave Richardson and his staff probably feeling pretty good about themselves. But Coach Kaminsky for the Cardinals made some adjustments. They kind of turned up the pressure in the second half, both offensively and defensively, and just put the pedal to the metal to forge forward with this 31-9 victory, giving them at least a share of the Big 8 Conference Championship for the Sun Prairie Cardinals, 2nd year in a row.
And that'll be that's a big accomplishment there for Coach Kaminsky, especially as we mentioned with changing offenses. And we will wrap this one up, and we will send it down to the sidelines and hear from.
Thanks, guys. That's the end of the game. It was a really fun game to watch tonight. Despite the rain, it was a little chilly, but it's cleared up now. Yeah. And now we've got a really fun part of the night coming up. We're giving away some trophies, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. We have our post-game show coming up. So we're going to give away the offensive MVP, the defensive MVP plaques and awards. And finally, this beautiful trophy in front of us is going to go to the winning team here at the Dane County Bowl.
Oh, it's going to be super exciting. You're not going to want to miss it, so stay with us.
Well, Sun Prairie beats Verona 31-9. As you see the Draven Peoples first quarter, that was the first score of the game on the big 40-yard dump-off touchdown pass.
Showing his power and his speed on that swing pass there to get the Cardinals on the board.
And there was a squirrely play, and I don't know if you call it a fumble or an interception, goes Verona's way, and then Sun Prairie continues to move the ball. They end up going Brian McKenzie powering his way in.
A lot of power McKenzie showed there, breaking 4 tackles along his way to punch it into the end zone.
And actually, this one was not the guy we called it on before. That was Dominic Lanfear actually taking it to the corner of the end zone. And Verona, their last big play of the game, that was their receiver again, and King. And then there's a big field goal that Sun Prairie made to really ice it, 31-9 victory in the Dane County Bowl.
That's the end of the Dane County Bowl. Sun Prairie came away with a huge win tonight, and now we get to hand out all of our awesome trophies. And with us to present the offensive MVP is Andrea Brunzell on behalf of Brunzell Lumber. I'll let you take it away, Andrea.
Hi, super excited for Draven, who got this award tonight. Running back for Sun Prairie, and I'm Andrea Brunzell Parks, and this is my son Carson Parks. And he played running back for Verona for 7 years, and so he's super excited to give this award tonight, and we'll let him take that away.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Draven. And stay with us, because after the break, we're going to be giving away the Defensive MVP Award here at the Dane County Bowl. Stay with us. Welcome back to the postgame award show here at the Dane County Bowl. Now we have got our defensive MVP award on behalf of Little Stroke Swim Academy. Emily, take it away.
All right, on behalf of Little Stroke Swim Academy, this is for number 21, Marty Stride, 12 tackles. Way to go!
Congratulations, Marty. Great work. And stay with us because we're giving away the big A1 Furniture Dane County Bowl trophy right after this. Welcome back to the A1 Furniture Dane County Bowl. It has been a great game tonight. Sun Prairie came away with a big win. We have Coach Kaminsky with us tonight. So on behalf of A1 Furniture and Mattress, we'd like to present you with the Dane County Bowl trophy.
It's
you
heavy.
Can hold it up in
It's
all
a big
of its
one.
glory. Congratulations, everyone. Congrats.
All right, put it back down. All right, sit down, guys. Sit it back down. Hey, give me 2 claps for the Ric Flair. Oh! 2 claps for the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah!
All right, well, man.
Afterwards.
You guys got it. So it was a big win for you guys. You go to 8-0. It was kind of a frustrating at times. You got sort of some penalties, but at the end of the day, you guys got it done. Yeah, I was trying to be nice about it. So what overall thoughts on an 8-0 season and this game and what that means?
It was a great football game tonight. You know, I thought we hurt ourselves in the first half a little bit, but you know, Verona's going to be a well-coached team and they're going to fight you to the end. But very proud of our guys. There's some adversity there before halftime with the number of penalties we had, and we were able to let Verona go down and score. But we challenged our kids at halftime to come out and take it away from them, continue to be humble, continue to be hungry, and dominate the second half, and our kids were able to do that.
Coach, you talk about the halftime adjustments that you made, but your defense played well throughout, even though they let up that one score there late in the half. Talk about that defense and how well they played not only tonight but all season.
Defense is relentless, and that's what makes us group specials. They continue to fly to the football, and they continue to hit, and they believe in each other, and they communicate well. We made some defensive adjustments. Our kids are able to understand that at halftime and make them, and we were able to shut them down in the second half.
So it looks like you got La Follette to finish off your season. So what needs to happen to go 9-0?
I got to enjoy this tonight and then get ready to work tomorrow. You know, they knocked us out of the playoffs last year, so we got to make sure we're ready for that and ready to. We want, you know, we don't like to share, and if we get that win, we get the conference title outright, and we're just excited for the opportunity to win it outright.
Coach, Draven Peoples got the offensive MVP tonight. Early in the game, it looked like he might kick a field goal at about the 4-yard line, but he was pounding his chest to get the ball. Did you think that you needed to give it to him and then let him walk into the end zone?
Well, I didn't know if we just walk into the end zone, but you know, at that point in time, we knew that we trust our defense. That if we do get stopped on, the other team's got to go 98 yards, and we feel that's pretty tough. So we wanted to give him the football there and try to do some things. He was able to capitalize, and our offensive line did a great job getting him in the end zone.
Well, congratulations, Coach. Congratulations to the players. You're looking for a 9-0 season. We will finish up our season. Milton against Edgewood. We'll have that on 57 Sports. For everyone here, for everyone that's been involved with this game, for the players, the coaches, everybody, thanks for watching the Dane County Bowl on 57 Sports.